Directing traffic, gonna go deep, has a man deep, it is caught for the touchdown, Corey Davis!
What does he do? Attacks leverage. If he's outside leverage, he doesn't want you to beat him outside. So stem towards him, hold him outside, stab outside. Drive face, full cell vertical, get into the blind spot, and he burns. He has no idea we're going with this.
Long, fast, how he approaches the game, how dedicated he is to football. He's ridiculously good, man. You have to be ecstatic.
This is actual film. It's actual football talk. It's a football show. We're supposed to talk football, not storylines.
No. And you are listening to another edition of Blitz. Sorry for some of the potential audio problems I may have. We're just trying to work out something behind the scenes for the last 5 minutes. That's why I was late. So I apologize for that. Also, I'm using a backup microphone because my other mic got broke. Or it broke, so I might have to order another mic. A little bit of an impromptu afternoon stream. Just have some stuff going on tonight, and obviously Thursday night is the Devils' second playoff game. I think the Nets are playing that night as well, Game 3, even though they're going to lose that series. So I didn't want to do a show during both of those playoff games. I went to Game 1 of the playoffs for the Devils and the Rangers last night. Devils lost 5-1. Not necessarily the best game to throw a G on, but it is what it is. I'm with my grandpa, who's he's getting a little bit older, so I think this is probably the last year he can go to a game and get there. So I decided to bring him, and it was great. But it was also a pain in the ass, trying to find parking in Newark and drop him off in front of the stadium and then going to drop the car off. And then after the game, trying to get him to a spot where I can pick him up and, all these one-way streets and pedestrians walking around is a little bit of a shit show, but good time minus the game. The game was, I had bad luck at sporting events and even Devils games. Devils have been pretty shitty the last couple of years, but in general, they're a relatively successful franchise. And, every time I go to games, they lose. So maybe I just don't go to more games, but 2-0, I think, in the first 10 minutes, and it's like shit, and then the rest of the game, they're just not connecting on passes. They're just not shooting it when they have the good opportunity. And, 3-0, 4-0, it's like, God damn, dude, I just spent $1,000 to go to a game where I could have watched at home for $1,000 plus parking and all that. But it is what it is, right? Kind of sucks. Congratulations to the Rangers, the Rangers faithful out there. Plenty of games left. They have to win 3 more. And the Devils actually, they controlled the puck, and I don't think they played that bad. It's just their passing was not on point, and they could have shot multiple times. There was that one breakaway Mercer had. He has a breakaway, and he passes to Hughes instead. Hughes has to gather, and then he came and shoot. It's like, dude, just dump the puck on net, rebound or whatever. I'm not trying to get into hockey, but it was a little bit annoying last night. Let's say hello to some people in the chat. We're going to do a mock draft at some point on the stream. Again, with this stream happening today, I'm not going to do a stream, obviously, tonight or tomorrow night with Kyle. And then next week, just obviously, if you're subscribed and you have the bell notifications on, then you'll know. But maybe a show on Wednesday and then a show on Thursday after the first round and then a show on Friday. I don't know exactly how we're going to play it. I know Ryan has his big thing on Jets Talk 24/7 for all of the draft days. So if people are going to be there and you just want to catch me on there, that's cool. If you want me to stream, I'll stream first round after it happens because I'll be with my buddies. I have 4 or 5, 6 buddies coming over. So I might be a little bit banged up for the first round, stream or the post first round stream. So that'll be interesting. And then day 2, let me know. I think after the first round, we'll definitely do it. And like I said, day 2, we'll figure it out. But we have some news to talk about. We have some signings, some rumored interest in some receivers. We have receivers who went elsewhere. Obviously, I was gone for, I didn't do a stream last week, so I have 2 weeks of news to catch up to. Downstairs, not my normal spot. This is my downstairs living room because my dog is currently sleeping on my lap, so it's a little bit different. I don't want to lock him in my upstairs office. So let's say hello to some people. Early stream, Eagle Thing, what's up? I appreciate you being in here. My top 2 picks at 13, Skronski and Flowers in that order. Jackson Smith, mid-speed and 1-year production is a draw off for me scouting him. Is that scouting, Eagle, or is that just stats? Unless you actually scouted him, I don't know. And people talk about Jackson Smith and his lack of speed, but he has, and I'm pretty sure he had very good agility testing numbers. And if you're telling me in a vacuum, hey, this guy is very fast, but not agile, and hey, this guy is very agile, but not fast, I'm taking the agile guy over speed all day or every day of the week. Now, having elite speed is obviously a very good trait to have, but there are guys with elite speed who don't work out. And obviously that's true for people who have elite agility and don't work out either. But, just because you're fast doesn't mean you're a good receiver. Marquise Goodwin, Darius Hayward-Bay obviously is out there. There's plenty of guys who have been drafted who, have that speed and don't necessarily pan out. So if you're telling me the guy has an elite agility, which he does or seemingly does, then I'm okay with the pick. So his lack of speed is not concerning to me necessarily at all with Jackson Smith. Now we're talking about injuries and how many years he was productive for. Sure, I get it, and I've heard some of the stuff and I've seen some of the stuff on Twitter about how productive he's been. I can just tell you from watching him passively through Justin Fields film and through Garrett Wilson film, I was ridiculously impressed with him. So I would be okay with the pick, but it depends. Like before this week, we only have 8 days into the draft. I thought the Jets were going to fill up some more holes, and maybe they still do. Maybe they're going to work it right up to crunch time with guys like Ben Jones or whoever it may be. But I'm starting to lean into the feeling, or maybe just because it hasn't happened yet and everything's going to play out in your mind. But maybe the Jets are slightly risky to be frank. Maybe they're seeing a situation where, okay, whoever you guys like in the second round at center, whether it be Avila or JMS, or is it JMS? John Michael Schmitz. Yeah. John Michael Schmitz, or was it like Tillman? There's another Tillman guy. I think there's a Whippler from Ohio State, right? I'm starting to get into the names a little bit more. Maybe the Jets are seeing if one of those guys falls to the second round and they have Ben Jones on speed dial. And if it doesn't work out for in the draft, then okay, you go get a guy. Maybe they only like JMS and JMS is gone, and then they draft a D tackle in the second round, and then they call Ben Jones, or maybe it's vice versa. Maybe they draft that center, and now they had Al Woods on speed dial, but because they draft that center in the second round, now they go for the D tackle in free agency. Maybe it's the same thing in the first round. Maybe they have a guy like Cam Fleming on speed dial, who's not necessarily a lockdown starter, but I think he's a spot starter, at least an okay one, and enough to add to the room where you feel at least okay with the position. Maybe they go into the draft and it's okay. We like Jackson Smith. They like Zay Flowers, let's say, like Eagle does. And it's between Flowers, Jackson Smith, and then maybe they only like Paris Johnson or Skronski there. Maybe if Paris Johnson and Skronski are there, they try to trade down. Oh shit, they can't. Then we're forced into a receiver, and then they have to sign a Cam Fleming. I personally would like to go into the draft with a little bit more holes plugged up, but that's kind of my feeling right now is, center or D tackle in round 2, or maybe a receiver, and then you transition into free agency. Maybe if you don't land that receiver, you keep Corey Davis. To me, if you don't land a receiver in the first round, you keep Corey Davis. Listen, I get the guys in the second round, all that stuff. There's plenty of busts in the second round. And to me personally, getting rid of Corey Davis and having Hardman a second round pick, Lazard and Wilson, it's okay enough. Like it's rosterable, but it's not a good receiving core for Aaron Rodgers. So I'd rather do more. So if it's not a guy in the first round, I keep Corey Davis personally. And at that point, if you keep Corey Davis, I would personally like to see a guy in the fourth, round. Let's call it a 4th round pick, and he develops as your 5th. Because at the end of the day, yes, if healthy, Corey Davis, Lazard, Hardman, and Wilson is good enough. Like it's definitely I would say an average to solid unit in the NFL. The problem is Lazard has been banged up a little bit more than people realize, at least a little bit. And Corey Davis has been injured. So you're not going to have those guys for 17 games. You can't assume that. So there's going to be some games where you have Wilson, Lazard, and Hardman, and that's just not enough to me. And in that situation, your 4 becomes more important. And obviously you can't have elite depth at every position. Receiver is one where you definitely need at least 3 deep, and we're only 4 deep right now, kind of. So you that 4th or 5th guy is really important to me, especially with guys who have injury past at your number 2 and 3. So is Mims enough at 5? To me, it's not. I would like to draft the guy if they hold on to Corey Davis and let him develop, but we'll see. So interesting to see how the draft really is going to play out. I really think it's going to be a tackle or a receiver at 13. If I had to guess, it is going to be a tackle. But again, at that point, you keep Corey Davis, and if the Packers want him, okay, well, what's the value you're attaching to him? Can we replace? You want Corey Davis? What is his value? A 6th round pick? Okay, we'll throw an extra 6th round pick or a 5th round pick in there to not give you Corey Davis. Okay. Is that a possibility? I think so. Again, just going into next year with Hardman as your 3 and Corey Davis gone and a 4th round pick, it's just not enough. It's just not enough. Hardman, which by the way, I've watched and prepped all of those reviews. So I have reviews on literally everybody. Tristan Colon is ready to be pushed out. I actually just did Brees Hall and ABT. I watched their season again. I watched Schweitzer, whatever you pronounce his name. So I watched all those guys. Hardman is not a 3. If Hardman's your 3, we got problems. And to be completely transparent too, if Lazard is your lockdown number 2, we got problems. I'm sorry, he's not a great number 2. I think he's a decent starting level guy. And what I mean by starting level guy is a top 3 receiver. So if he's your number 3, okay, I think he's a decent number 3. But if you're looking anything past your number 3, if he's your number 2, he is not a good number 2. I'm sorry, it just is what it is. I think he's an okay player, but he certainly has limitations. And I'm telling you right now, if you guys hated Corey Davis's drop problems, you're going to hate Lazard more because Lazard drops more easy balls than Corey Davis does. So that's something that people have to realize. I get that the YouTube highlights and all that makes his catch radius look great and his deep ball ability look great and all that stuff, but there are clearly flaws in his game as well. So let's see what else is going on in the chat. M. Lopez. First, you were not first, but I appreciate you being in here. Mikey Mall is waiting. Sorry, Mikey. I'm trying to fix my mic. Cobra Kai will take you down. There's going to be another Cobra Kai season, right? I believe. I just watched, I'm watching Mandalorian. That last episode was ridiculous. I don't know if you guys watched that, but the last one was pretty damn good. I was actually never into that stuff at all. Like I've watched maybe Revenge of the Sith, and like maybe one other Star Wars movie in like my 29 years of life to that point. And then I watched Mandalorian and I was like, shit, I gotta watch this Star Wars stuff. So now I'm all caught up. I watched the movies, I watched the shows, I watched Obi-Wan, I watched Andor, I watched all of it. So, but Mandalorian's good. Cobra Kai is like it's like a solid like single show. You know, like you got to first base. You know, it's something you watch, but it's not necessarily great. It's kind of like mindless, stupid TV that, you know, I could live without, but because I've already watched it, I'm already kind of invested. But it's super cheesy, and if you don't expect that going into it, then that's on you. But you know, it's like a spinoff of Karate Kid. It's obviously going to be cheesy and stupid, you know. So let's see. Cobra Kai is dying in season 6. Spoiler. All right. I wonder if Johnny retakes Cobra Kai or Eagle Fang. All right. I'm excited. Almost week 1 or 1 week away, boys, until the draft. Yeah, I'm excited, and obviously this year has much less draw to it than in prior years. Like prior years, just last year, I probably did like 10 to 15 reviews prior to the draft on guys. I've only watched like 3 guys legitimately this year, just because I just don't have enough time, and I need to dedicate my time effectively. And getting all those reviews prepped for the offseason was more valuable. And I would release some of them now. Like I would have released Lazard. I still have to record it. But who's going to watch an Alan Lazard review a week before the draft? Nobody's going to give a shit. So you release it in June. You know, in June. You start hearing his name in training camp, whatever. That's when you release it. But a week before the draft, nobody cares about Lazard. Nobody cares about Hardman anymore. You know, that the interest will re-drum up after the draft after I do those guys. So Devils took a massive smackdown, but at least they were not the Maple Leafs. Yeah, I really don't want to lose to the Rangers. The Devils haven't won a playoff game since 2015. I legitimately do think the Devils are the better team, but you know, some nights it's not your night. And hockey's interesting, man. Like hockey is really the most what's the word I'm looking for? Like not diverse. That's not the right word, but the 1 seed can beat the 8 seed, or the 8 seed can beat the 1 seed like pretty much any year. Maybe not the Bruins this year. They're a powerhouse, but in general, any team can beat any team. But the Devils are good, man. I don't see the rest of the series going down that way. I'm hoping for obviously that dub on Thursday night, but we'll see. Caden, let's go. It's been a while since I can catch a live stream. Appreciate you being here, Caden. We've missed you. Again, I'm sorry for the impromptu Wednesday, you know, stream. I'm sure a lot of people are at work and stuff, but for the people who are in here, a little bit more intimate. So I appreciate it. You are not a drink show. I am. I was talking to my grandpa on the way back from the game. Just a pain in the ass with that traffic too. But I've probably been to, I'm not exaggerating, I don't even know, let's just say 200 sporting events. I would say my hit rate is probably like 15 to 20%. So I've been to 200 games. I've probably seen my team win 30 of those 200 times. Like the Jets games have not been very kind to me. The Devils games have not been very kind to me. And in recent years, Mets have not been very kind to me. Nets were kind-ish when I was really young, but then they got like Devin Harris and they traded for Yi Jinglong and freaking Bobby Simmons and all these trash players. And then they really sucked for a couple of years. And then one year they were 12-70. So I have not had a lot sports success. Now, maybe obviously that's their fault, and I'm not the jinx, and my teams just suck. That's probably the more realistic thing. But yeah, going to games and then losing, it sucks, man. It sucks. Blitz crew, appreciate you being here. If you're doing that in the future, car services are worth it. In my experience, you have that cash to drop on it. Yeah. If you have the money, like getting a car service, I completely agree. But I might have underrated how bad my grandpa's legs were. So I feel like I walk a little bit. He really struggled, but it is what it is. We figured it out. I was glad to go there and grab a beer or two with him. Again, probably the last game you can go to. His knees are just not holding up. Different camera hiding that scratch off. No, the camera just fixed itself. It just fixed itself. Keuka Lake Jets fan. I wonder if this is Finger Lakes Jet fan. Or just a different name. There's two different Lake Jet fans. O-line or D-line at 13. It depends. To me, I am okay with a couple of guys at 13 on the offensive line. And right now, I'm okay with Darnell Wright from what I've seen. Now, again, transparency, I could watch him. I can go back and watch him and think he absolutely sucks and not want him at all. But based on what I've seen, I'll be okay with him at right tackle at 13. I'm okay with Paris Johnson at 13. I think he's a little bit more raw than people realize he is. So he might struggle at first, but I'm still okay with him at 13. I'm okay with Skronski at 13. I know the whole guard versus tackle thing, but I think he could be, and he will be, at least a solid tackle, which I'll take. Broderick Jones is not the guy for me at 13. I think he's way too raw, and I think he's a reach, to be completely honest. So if one of those guys is not there, okay, who on the defensive line are you talking about? If you're talking about Jalen Carter, does he fall to that point? Most likely not. Then you're talking about, what's his name? Is it Kalijah Cansey's the other guy who people are talking about at 13? But there are people out there who think he's pretty raw as well, and he's going to be like a rush on third down guy his first year, not necessarily be a full-time player. So does he necessarily fit? Now, obviously, if he's going to be a long-term good player, you take him, but then you have him, you have Jefferson. You don't really have a lot of run stuffers in there, so that kind of worries me a little bit, and that might seem like a little bit of a reach. So, and then again, with that, even if it's Carter, Carter, he's definitely turned me off. Like, listen, I get the talent thing, or the talent he has, but the whole incident in Georgia after they won the national championship concerns me, at least a little bit. The coming to his pro day workouts, overweight and not really performing well concerns me. Him not taking, and again, might just be him, being a young kid and getting bad advice from an adult. But for him to not even interview with teams outside the top 10, to me, is extremely just short-sighted and stupid. You never know what can happen in the draft. So to not meet with teams like, I'm too good for the teams outside the top 10 is an extreme turnoff to me. That's probably the biggest turnoff. Now, again, is it his agent or is him? Either way, it's a pretty big turnoff. So if it's not him, if it's not Cansey, if one of those guys aren't available, obviously that's doomsday for Kuka Jets, our Lake Jets fan. But it's a possibility, and people just assume that the Jets like all these guys. What if they don't like Paris Johnson Jr.? You never know. They could have him as a second round player. They're not going to take him at 13. We just assumed that they would because of mock drafts for the most part. I think that's where a lot of mistakes come in the draft. A lot of people, a lot of the NFL doesn't share the draft community's view on players. And a lot of these draft sites are groupthink. So they all have guys in the same range of where they'll be picked. And then the draft comes and guys are 2 rounds later than we thought they were, 2 rounds earlier than we thought they were. And holy shit, I never heard of this guy. Yeah, it's because it's groupthink. We could all have Paris Johnson as a top 15 player and the whole NFL thinks he's a second round guy. You don't really know. Now you can have educated guesses and depend on how much research and film and stuff you watch into the guy, but it's all dependent. It all depends. What is the cap hit on Rodgers trading him on draft day versus June 1st? Do you think that is a major I know so I really suck with the contract stuff and I haven't really even looked into it too much, but I think they could save like $15 million if it's post June 1st for the Packers, I believe. But I'm not so sure. I really think the holdup is the fact that they just both drew a line in the sand and there's really no timeline at this very moment that's necessarily making them push for a deal. Now, is that timeline Friday at 7:00, 7:30, whenever the Jets are going to make that, that second round draft pick, 8:00, whatever it's going to be? Is that the timeline? I think that probably pushes it. If I had to bet still, if I had to bet right now, I'm going to say that the Jets will have Aaron Rodgers by what's next Thursday's date? I don't know, the 27th. The 27th. At 7 p.m., we will have Rodgers on the team. If not, it's June 1st. We make both those draft picks. Great. I'm not after the draft though. I will start to sweat a little bit more. Now that I think there's only like a 1% chance he doesn't get traded to the Jets, but still, after the draft, it's going to start to get annoying because you want him at least around the team. In the offseason. Now, does he necessarily like participate in voluntary OTAs and that stuff? No. Probably not, but you still want him around the team. You still want him under contract. At the end of the day, if you're in a Super Bowl run, Super Bowl push, like Rodgers has to adjust to a lot of things. I get he knows the offense and stuff, but he doesn't know Garrett Wilson. He doesn't know Corey Davis. He doesn't know McCole Hardman. He doesn't know the draft pick. He doesn't know the offensive line. So yeah, he knows the offense. He doesn't know the players though. So it would be disheartening for me to see him not show up until he necessarily has to. Now, if that's the way that happens, it is what it is. I still want Rodgers on my team, but I would like to see him get some familiarity with his guys, because you've heard some Packers fans talk about how he usually starts slow when guys, newer guys come in. Well, we don't want that slow start. We're trying to, make a Super Bowl run in a very, very competitive AFC, and not only a competitive AFC, a very, very competitive AFC East. It's probably the best division in football right now, right? Is there really any arguments we can make for other divisions? I don't know. Maybe you can argue some of them, but I would probably, if I had to right now, plant my flag in the AFC East being the best division in football. Like the worst team is the Patriots, and you can easily see the Patriots being 8-9 or 9-8 just because of Bill Belichick, and some additions or whatever. So let's see. Mikey Malls, if Smith and the Jigba falls to round 2, doing being injured last season, would you grab him there or sticking with another? Okay. Like obviously this is very hard to answer, Mike, because who else is there? Right now, if you're telling me Jackson Smith and the Jigba is there at 43, are you taking him? Yes, the answer is yes. And then you're getting rid of Corey Davis, and he's your slot guy. Is he going to fall to round 2? I severely doubt it. A lot of and again, it's a week before the draft, so smoke screens and all that stuff. I would bet that he goes in the top half of the first round before I would bet him going in round 2. I think he goes in the top 16. More so than I think he falls to round 2. I can't see that happening. And round 2, it depends. Like if they bring in Ben Jones, is center a necessity in round 2? Not necessarily. Now, if you really like JMS and he's there in round 2 and you already have Ben Jones, okay, great. Grab him, whatever. It's depth. But maybe the Jets think differently. Like this year might be a little bit different than years in the past. For years in the past, we can go for some developmental guys and backups and things like that. But let's say, I don't know, they have JMS as an 8.5, but they already have Ben Jones. And then they have a guy who's an 8.3, but it's a linebacker who fills a position of need. Do you grab the player who's a little bit lesser for who's going to be somebody who contributes this year? That's not necessarily the best way to draft for future benefits or whatever, to be the best team in 2, 3, 4 years from now. But if you're going for Rodgers, or if you're going for it all with Rodgers, you might have to think about building your roster a little bit differently. So, but in general, in vacuum, yeah, Smith and Jigba falls to round 2. You grab him at that point. But my thing is, like, people talk about just getting rid of Corey Davis, and people are saying receivers luxury in the draft. If you're getting rid of Davis and you don't grab a receiver in the first round, receiver is not a luxury, it's a need. If Hardman is your receiver 3, it is a need in the NFL nowadays. He's not a good receiver 3. I'm sorry. He's just not. I'd be very disappointed if he's your wide receiver 3. At the end of the day, like, listen, he's fast. Yeah, he does the end around stuff, but there's also his route running is extremely inconsistent. His effort is inconsistent. His punt return ability, I saw him field the punt at the 3-yard line. I was like, oh shit, maybe he's not as good of a punt returner as we think he is. And at the end of the day, last year he was injured for half the season. I think he had something with his core. And then with that, like, you had guys like, Marquez Valdez Scantling playing over him. Like, there were some scrubs playing over him, and there's a reason for that. He's not a legitimate starting receiver in the NFL. He's more of a complimentary guy, which is fine. And I like him for the contract that he is, $5-6 million to be receiver 4. If it's $5-6 million for wide receiver 3, that would make much sense to me. But in general, like, we have to follow the breadcrumbs, right? The Jets try to invest heavily in D tackle. Quentin Jefferson is not that heavy investment. He's somewhat of an answer, but he's not the answer. They try to invest in some centers. Apparently they have interest in Ben Jones, so they clearly view that as a position they need to spend high capital on. Okay, who is it going to be? They tried to grab Odell Beckham, which we'll talk about in a little bit. That didn't work out, but they were clearly going to spend high investment, capital in him as well. So is just Hardman at receiver 3 going to be the Jets' answer? I can't imagine them being in on the Odell sweepstakes and wanting to pay him that money and then saying, well, we're fine. No Odell. Hardman's fine at receiver 3. Corey Davis, you're gone. I just can't see them thinking like that and being so volatile in their lines of thinking. So breadcrumbs, they really want a receiver right now. They really want to D-tackle. They really want a center. No shit, you know. So, and even tackle at this point, you know, look, they tried to sign Orlando Brown Jr. So those are 4 of the biggest needs in the team that we all agree that those are the positions we've been talking about most: Sons, linebacker, and safety. But you know, give me offense all day. Give me the center. Give me the tackle. Give me the receiver. Give me all those. Lazard and Hardman are solid number 3s. Maybe keeping Corey would be good. Okay, yeah. So this is obviously a little bit before David Gerard. Lazard is a solid 3. Lazard is. Yeah, I will agree with Lazard as being a solid 3. Hardman is not a 3. He's not. He's just not. The review will be coming out, you know, 50, 55, 60 plays, whatever it's going to be. He's extremely raw as a route runner. His hands are not very good. Inconsistency in his play. If Hardman is taking 60, 70% of the snaps for your offense, it's not an ideal receiving core. I'm sorry. So absolutely not. Lazard, yes. Hardman, no way. Hey, Joe. Hey, Gangrene 44. Season finale is pretty good. Was that I thought there was another one of if you're talking about what is it called? Mandalorian. I thought Mandalorian had another episode tonight. Maybe I'm wrong. It would make sense if that was a season finale because it was really, really good. It was really, really good. Mandalorian came out yesterday or today. I thought it comes out Wednesday nights. Or maybe it's Wednesday at 12 a.m. So technically it was this morning, but like last night. I don't know. Maybe it is out. I thought there was another one, though. Could be wrong. Obi-Wan sucked. They really blew it. You can skip Solo because I fell asleep 4 times in the theater. I watched all of them. The only thing I didn't watch was the animated shows, but everything like Obi-Wan, I watched it. The only problem with me with that whole world is I watched it so quick that everything lumps together. Solo. Oh, yeah, I watched Solo, though, too, with, obviously Han Solo and all those people. Did you all see where Paul Green said the Jets could possibly trade for Bakhtiari? You're talking about like Paul Eston or whatever. What? Okay. Based on what are the sources? Do you want Bakhtiari? Me personally, it obviously depends, but he's played 12 games in 2 years. He's a massive contract. And from what I watched of him in passing, and the thing is, and maybe I got to expand my strike zone a little bit, but when I'm watching a player, it's just that player. And like other stuff will flash on the screen, but I am not paying attention to anything else, obviously. Minus, okay, did this player obviously directly relate to Rodgers making a play or not making a play? But Bakhtiari in passing didn't look very good last year when he played. Or the year prior. I think it was this year he played 11 games in 1 year, the year prior. But big contract, injuries, and not necessarily an absolute stud like he used to be. I'd rather not. I'd rather invest at a guy in 13. I'd rather sign Cam Fleming for $8, $9, $10 million than have Bakhtiari on my team for, you know, whatever it's going to be, $17, $18 million. I just can't see it. He's injured. He's on the downturn of his career. I wouldn't like that. Playoff hockey is the best sport on TV. Playoff hockey is elite. It's elite for sure. I get like the lack of interest from some people in it because you can't necessarily go outside and play hockey. I think if we were able to do that, you know, Americans would like hockey more. But I love the league. I love everything about it. I really do. Playoff hockey is great as well. Basketball, like I don't watch I barely watch basketball anymore. Oh no, that's not true. I watch basketball. It's really fell out of favor with me in recent years. The lack of effort, the drama, the superstars, the teaming up and stuff. And even with the Nets, like I'm a Nets fan, but I didn't like KD. I didn't like Kyrie before them joining the Nets. And like they joined the Nets, I'm like, okay, you know, whoop-de-doo, like great, let's root for them. But in the back of my mind, like I don't like KD. I was never gonna get a KD jersey. Will I root for him to win a championship? Sure, but it's more like a mercenary thing. I just can't. I'm never gonna support a guy who was up. Was it 3-0 to the Warriors or 3-1 to the Warriors in the Western Conference Finals when he was on the Thunder? They choked the series away, lose it, 4-3 or whatever it was, and then you join that team the next year. It's just he's very soft to me, KD. So, and I'm happy. I don't know if they lost game 2, but I know they lost game 1 to they played the Suns, right? No, Jesus, they didn't play the Suns. They played the obviously he's on the Suns. They played the who'd they play? I forget who they played, but I know that they're down 1-0, which is great. M. Lopez, Joe, listen to your take on wide receiver being weak with number 2, Lazard, McCall, number 3, but does our tight end room make up for it? Should we draft a tight end? M. Lopez, I appreciate the question. No, now it makes somewhat of a difference. Like, yeah, if you have good tight ends, obviously, because at the end of the day, like you can't be so stringent and okay, you need, like I get it. Obviously, if you have a guy like Kelsey or Goddard or Mark Andrews, your need for receiver lessens, but Conklin and Uzama and Ruckert aren't going to move the chain enough for me to think that Hardman's a good receiver 3. Now, if we had Kelsey, okay, we could live with Hardman as receiver 3, but Conklin, to me, he's the most underrated Jet this year, going into this year, I think, off the top of my head. I think after next year with legitimate quarterback play, people are like, damn, let's keep Conklin around. He's actually a solid receiving tight end. I think last year he was like 9th in receiving yards and tight end. So he's a top 10 receiving tight end, at least statistically. I think this year people are going to have a much higher opinion of on him. But with that being said, I don't think he's enough to not get that receiver. Uzama is... listen, he's a number 2, and I think he's an overpaid number 2. I think he's an okay tight end, but he's getting paid too much money. I like the leadership and stuff like that, but I just don't see it on the field. I didn't see it on the field with him in Cincy for what he got paid. If he got paid $4 or $5 million instead of 7 or 8, okay, then I get it. But yeah, no, it's not enough. And Ruckert, I like him as a 3. I like him as a developmental guy, but again, it's not enough to not draft a receiver. Now, should we draft a tight end? It depends. Like, listen, if you're there in round 4 and there's a stud tight end who you really, really like and there's nothing else out there, a guy who's even close in your board, okay, then grab the tight end. I get it because, maybe Uzama and Conklin are gone next year. I wouldn't bet on Conklin being gone. I would, if I had to bet right now, he's here next year as well. I think, again, he's better than people realize. And I know they restructured a little bit with Conklin and Uzama, making it a little bit harder for them to cut them next year. So it seemingly, unless they're willing to eat some cap space, those guys might be here this year and next year. But for the sake of, okay, you draft a tight end in the 4th round, he develops well. Is Uzama's contract slightly prohibitive to getting rid of it? Yeah, but I think you can figure out a way to get rid of it. But is tight end a need going to the draft? No, it's one of the lesser needs. Now I get it because this is a tight end deep draft, so take advantage of it. Okay, fine. But round 2, 1 or 1 or 2, no, I don't see that. And this draft is funny. Like, of course, for the Jets in a draft that's not deep, it's not top heavy. The positions that it's deepest in towards the top, the Jets don't need. Like, you have a bunch of quarterbacks, DNs, and corners. The Jets don't need a DN. They don't need a corner. They don't need a quarterback. So the top of the draft is not great for the Jets. You have Skronski, who might be the best tackle, but he might go to a team who needs a tackle and a guard, and then you let him fail a tackle, and then, okay, he becomes a guard. But, of course, the best tackle might not be a tackle for the Jets. You have JSN, who might be the best receiver, but he might not be gone. And then past that, you might have all the other receivers being like round 2 guys. If you were to draft JSN, then what's the plan at tackle? Like, that's another concern. So the top of the draft is just not very favorable for the Jets in terms of just being deep at positions we don't need. Now, maybe you can take the other argument of, okay, well, it's deep at those positions, so it's going to push the positions that we need more down the board. Okay, I get that, but I'd rather it just be deep at the positions we need. I'd rather it be 2020 draft where all 4 tackles are worth pick 13. But it is what it is. But a funny draft for the Jets in terms of kind of how it's structured. But those are trying to make up for it. No, I think the tight end room is average, at this point. I think it's an average tight end group, so doesn't make up for it. No. Again, if you had Andrews, you had Kelsey, you had Goddard, you had one of these guys, okay, sure. But never, it's not enough for Lazard to be 2 and Hardman to be 3. There's just no way. So let's see. Catch up in the chat. Go Rangers, waiting to get. No, it's like it is what it is. Rangers fans are just very cocky to me for a team who hasn't won a championship since, what was it, 94? Correct me if I'm wrong, Rangers fans. Was it 94 your last cup? 92, something like that. Very, very cocky, but nonetheless, it is. Devils won a lot when I was young, so I don't really appreciate it. But what they won in 95, 2000, 2003, I think. So the last cup I was 10. So I didn't really appreciate it too much, but I get it, Rangers fans. I get them being the more popular team and all that stuff. For the people, like I saw people on Twitter like, oh, they took over The Rock. They did not take over The Rock last night. That's for sure. There was a couple of like, let's go Rangers chants when they were up like 3-0, but it lasted for like 2 or 3 chants, and then all the Devils fans booed and completely drowned it out. Like, you couldn't, the Rangers fans did not take over that place at all, in my opinion. I was there, but Yeah, it is what it is. I don't hate Rangers fans too much. I would say out of all the opposing fans, like I'm Jets, Nets, Mets, Devils. The fans I hate the most are Yankees and Knicks fans. Yankees and Knicks. And like the Yankees, I get their success and I get it. I get a lot of what they talk about, but at the end of the day, like, I would be curious to see how many championships the Yankees won when their payroll was like double everybody else's in the MLB. Like, great, yeah, you won, but you're working with double the money that everybody else won. So congratulations. I get it, cool, and that's what the Mets have done in recent years. So I can't talk too much shit, and they haven't won. But you know what I'm saying? It's not like they're not like a legit. I don't know. And then with the Knicks fans are they are brutal. I hate Knicks fans. I will never back down on that one. They're just absurdly cocky because they have MSG and they haven't won one playoff series in the last. They won that one playoff series. Was it to the Pacers in 2013? Was their last playoff series win? I think. And I get it. Listen, I'm a Nets fan. The Nets just had the biggest superstar team get together bust of NBA history. Harden, KD, and Kyrie played, I think, 17 games together, and they were supposed to be the superstar team. We had KD for 4 years. They won one fucking playoff series with KD. One. Gross. Absolutely gross. So I get it. I don't have any room to talk as a Nets fan. But I hate Knicks fans. I want them to lose. I'm sorry. Other teams, okay, I get it. Like, I'm happy for some of you guys, but I will never root for the Knicks or the Yankees a day in my life. I can't do it. I'll never root for the Rangers or any other teams otherwise, but I'll be transparent. I would be actively rooting against the Rangers, but I wouldn't be so mad about it. If the Knicks or the Yankees win, I get mad. I can't do it. Stop going to Jets games then. Jets games last year was bad. I'm trying to think. I think last year, did I go to a game that they won? Yeah. Oh, yeah, Packers. I went to the Packers game. They won. I went to the Bills game. They won. I went to the Lions game. No. Jaguars game. No. Bears game. They won. I don't know. My teams just suck. They just suck. Jets and Sabres are alone now as the two teams with the largest playoff drought in major sports, 12 years. Yeah, I know the Kings made it, right? So the Jets are the longest right now in professional sports, 13 years. Finger Lakes Jets fan. Yeah, fan nice. Which O-line do you feel is a day one solid starter right now? And again, Blitzkrieg, I'm being transparent. I can go and watch some of these guys more and completely backpedal on my take. I'm not one of those guys to watch a game or two. Most people don't even watch a game or two. They watch highlights. They read a scouting report. No, this is what that guy thinks. Now I think that as well. So I could change. With that being said, who do I think will be a solid day one starter? Probably two. I would say Skronski and Darnell Wright, I think, would be decent to solid starters day one. I think Johnson, Jones would struggle initially. I do. So one of those guys, again, and Skronski, I know his arms are 32 and a half inches and, all of that, but he is very, very technically sound. I think he might overset some guys sometimes, but overall his feet is good. His first contact is good. His leverage is good. Understanding of schemes of pass blocking is good. Stunts and twists good. So I really like Skronski. I would get the Jets passing him, but I would also, to me, like, Skronski's never going to be a home run, a grand slam type of prospect, but in my opinion, he's a solid double. And like right now in this draft, a solid double with Aaron Rodgers coming in a year where we're pushing for the Super Bowl, I'm okay with that. I would be happy with Skronski at 13. And then listen, at the end of the day, do we have that the flexibility to move him to guard if he fails a tackle? Not right now. But who's to say, after next year, and it kind of depends on where Rodgers is in terms of playing for the Jets, next year, and depending on how it goes this year. But who's to say that Skronski, if he fails a tackle this year, they don't move him to left guard next year? Like and we have to get into Tomlinson's numbers next year if you can get rid of him. But let's say Rodgers does leave after 1 year. Knock on wood, he stays for 2. But let's say he leaves after 1 year. And listen, they're already not going to be, I think there'll be a team who's still going to be like competitive after Rodgers leaves. I don't think they're going to be ever like the bad Jets again. But maybe, he leaves and okay, shit, it is what it is. We'll eat some crow on Laken Tomlinson's contract and we'll move Skronski to guard. Now, maybe if he stays the extra year, okay, Skronski's a 2-year project at tackle. If he doesn't work out for those 2 years, you move him to guard. So that, maybe they do that. But to me, yeah, Skronski's a solid double. And I'll take a double at 13, and especially in this draft where it doesn't seem like overly top heavy. It's just past that. If it's not Skronski, who's a double, Johnson's probably gone if I had to bet by the time the Jets draft. And I'm telling you right now, again, I could change my opinion on Browder Jones. If Browder Jones is the pick at 13, I will be disappointed. If it's thrown all right, okay, I could live with it, but I don't know. I could just see like Johnson. Johnson could be a good player. He could also be a bust. I don't think Skronski's going to be a bust. I think maybe, his ceiling is a triple. Maybe his floor is a double, for sports analogies, but I don't ever think he's like a strikeout, a pop fly. I think at the minimum he's a single and he's a decent tackle. I just can't see him being terrible. It's his agent. Is it Kuka? Lake Jets fan? I don't know. You're fucking me up. Finger Lakes is a lot easier to say. Jalen Corey worries me like Robert Medicki. Butcher that from Ole Miss. Who is that? Roger. Who are you talking about from Ole Miss a few years ago? Roger and Ditchy. I don't know what you're talking about. Kuka? Oh, Kuka Lake Jet fan. Okay, Kuka. Okay. Jalen Carter watch becomes Warren Sapp. I don't know. It's concerning. Jalen Carter made a stupid move. Top 10 team taking him is taking a risk on his criminal case. Also now no team is going to trade up to the top 10 and want him. They didn't think about that. It's just like, listen, to me, and there's so much stuff behind the scenes that we really don't know. But on the surface, you're going into the NFL. And listen, the whole driving thing, racing, you just won the national championship. I can understand that. Now, the whole ins and outs of that case, I can't tell you. But if that was a blip on the radar, okay, I get it. The bigger concerns for me is what exactly happened with the visits out to the top 10, because that's concerning. That's just like that to me. That's like you're just like. It's just a dick move. Like, even if you don't think, even if there's a 1% chance that you don't go in the top 10, the optics of denying visits outside the top 10 is very like, I'm too big for this shit type of look to me. And I don't like that. And then past that, you have, again, this is an audition for the rest of your life and how much millions you're going to make. And maybe there could have been like circumstances where he was out of shape for whatever other reasons. But in general, on the surface, you coming into your pro day out of shape. What are you going to do in year 4 when you're comfortable and you have a contract? Are you going to give max effort in the offseason? You're going to give max effort to the team, or you give max effort on the field? If you're getting fat for your pro day when you're trying to get into the NFL, like it's just there's a lot of things to think about with Carter. So I would be okay with the Jets drafting him at 13. I would be okay with the Jets passing him at 13. There's 90% of the picture that we're not seeing behind the scenes. So they have a lot more info on it. Yeah, if they draft him, they're comfortable with him. Okay, it is what it is. Me right now, I'm not comfortable with it. Chris, I think Watson's been in here, Packers fan. I don't think you've been disrespectful. I could see Bakhtiari and maybe the trade compensation changes a little bit because we're absorbing another contract or whatever it may be. But Bakhtiari is not something I'm like trading for, like in a vacuum. It's just the injuries and all that. I don't see it. Blitz crew. People keep saying JSN. Quentin could be available as well. Thoughts on him instead of JSN? Yeah. So like this isn't a guy I've watched enough of. Quentin Johnson. It's just, to me, based on what I've seen and heard, he's a little bit redundant with Lazard. He seems very Lazard-esque, and maybe he's a little bit more physical freak than a Lazard. But I think it's a little bit redundant. And based on what I've watched, he seems very raw, just go up and get it type of guy. And that's kind of exactly what Lazard is. And those guys, those like big receivers who are like that, him, N'Keal Harry, who's the guy, Hakeem Butler from was that Arizona State a couple of years ago. Those bigger guys don't tend to work out as much as like the smooth route runners to me. To me, again, give me the smooth route runner over the physical freak all day. That's just me personally. And that's why I'm okay with JSN. And again, I could change my opinion, but right now, if you're telling me Quentin Johnson's a pick at 13, I'm not going to be thrilled. Yeah, to me, it's JSN, it's Johnson, it's Wright, it's Peter Skronski. Like those are the 4 guys I feel like it's going to be and that I want. Could I reason with a Jones? Can I reason with a Quentin Johnson? Can I reason with a Clyde Johansson? Sure. We'll see after the tape comes on and I do a breakdown on it. But right now it's Johnson, JSN, Skronski, Wright are the 4 that I would like. Obviously in a realistic world. Was it Keika? I don't know. Keika. I'm just gonna call you Lake Jet fan. They can save money, but who are they going to get with all that money? All the top tier free agency are gone, and who will want to go to Green Bay with an unproven? And Bakhtiari is probably gone too. I'm assuming you're talking about getting Bakhtiari for the Packers. The Packers need to get rid of Bakhtiari just for future years too. Like, they don't have a lot of money to build, and they still need to build plenty on that team. So, I just if I was a Packers and if I was a Packers fan personally, I wouldn't want an older, often injured tackle on my team either. So if you can dump him to the Jets, and dump him to the Jets. But I don't think the Jets necessarily want him. R&R, rest and recovery. Nice banana. If we keep our first 3 picks, how about taking defensive tackle first, then an offensive tackle in the center? It depends. It all depends on, and like that's the easiest answer for all this is it depends. And I don't mean to cop out like that, but it is what it is. What's that defensive tackle? Because to me, Carter is a concern, and from what I've seen, Cansey's a boomer bust guy, and some people don't think he's worth 13. So if Cansey's not worth 13, you don't take him. If Carter's gone, which I assume he is, who do you take at D tackle there? Are you taking Cansey? Because that's probably you're going to have to take. You're going to need defensive tackle at 13. And we're talking about an offensive tackle in the second round. Who was there as an offensive tackle in the second round that you like? Now I would be okay. I would be more okay with the receiver at 13, offensive tackle in the second round. I don't see a defensive tackle at 13. But I can also at the same point, I think people just assume that the Jets like Rodgers Jones and all these guys. So we'll see. I'd rather it be receiver tackle. I just don't see a defensive tackle who's worth it at that spot when the Jets are picking. I think it's a possibility, but I don't know. Defensive tackle, then offensive tackle, and a center. Yeah, I think right now, really, like your first and second round picks, whether or not we have that second round pick, is a combination of receiver, tackle, D tackle, center. Anything outside of those 4 positions, I would be surprised in the first 2 rounds, but we'll see. I'm still hoping. I'm hoping right now they sign Ben Jones. Like if they were to sign Ben Jones right now and Al Woods, I feel a lot better about just get tackle and whatever else. NFC East is because of the Giants or Eagles, Cowboys, Giants, and Commanders. You can bait AFC East versus NFC East and not be wrong. Yeah, sure, but like Eagles have lost some guys, and maybe I'd give them the nod over the Jets or the Bills, but I think they're on an even level. Let's say the Eagles are even to the Bills, maybe a little bit better. I think the Jets are even to or better than the Cowboys. Actually, no, they're better than the Cowboys. You get Aaron Rodgers in this team. I think the Jets 1-for-1 are a better team than the Cowboys. You're telling me right now, Giants versus Dolphins. I'm taking the Giants over. Or I'm taking the Dolphins over the Giants in terms of just the talent on the team. I think the Giants had a little bit of a fluke year last year, and the Commanders. I think they have some more talent than people realize. But at the end of the day, maybe them and the Packers or the Patriots are a little bit more close than people realize. But I'm still taking the Patriots over them. So I think it's debatable, but I still think you'd be wrong. Like it's debatable. It's debatable. Quentin Johnson from TCU did not get invited to the NFL draft. He might be the guy that went from top 10 mocked months ago to go into the second round. Did not look good in the championship. Same with TCU, clearly. Yeah, I've heard it. If you had to tell me another receiver, let's say JSN is gone or the Jets go a different receiver for whatever other reason, I would guess it would be Jordan Addison over Johnson for the Jets. But you have Addison who went from what school did he go? What school was he on before he was on USC? Pitt? Was it Pitt? I think it was Pitt with Kenny Pickett. And he left for USC. He didn't have as big of a year as people or thought he would. So what is he exactly? I know he's not a big guy, and I know he's not an overly athletic guy. So how does he win? I don't know. But if you're telling me right now, Addison at 13, I wouldn't be happy. I think the only receiver wise would be JSN. Let me see. Yeah. Miami Dolphins. Yeah, the Dolphins signed what? They signed White, Feeney, Chosen Anderson. They got Braxton Berrios, who you missed right there. Even though you're asking for who that fourth player is, it's him. And Chosen Anderson, whatever, it doesn't make a difference to me. Is Tua going to be able to hit him 50 yards down the field? Probably not. So sadly, Disney Star Wars is trash. Yeah, it is. It is. It's available this morning. Okay, cool. Awesome. Dude, like that one. And again, all the movies lumped together. And I'm sorry for the sidebar talk, but whatever. It's, again, there's really not much to talk about. So I appreciate talking about some other stuff. And there's only 65 people in here, which is not our biggest thing, but I appreciate all 65 people. I know this is not our normal time of streaming, but that one scene, I don't know what movie it was, but it was one of the later ones where Luke Skywalker like walks out and he's a hologram of himself, and like all the I don't know what those big fucking machines are called, whatever those things are called, the walker things. They're all shooting him. And then like there's a cloud of dust, and he like walks out of the cloud of dust and he like brushes off his shoulder, like, oh, no big deal. It's like, bro, really? Like you're Luke Skywalker and brushing off your shoulder. It's like very corny and like not what you'd expect Luke to be. Like you think he's like a Jedi. He's all like, you know, calm and smart and all this shit. He's like a woke, like it was just stupid. It was so bad. The newer one, so terrible. But the one of the newest ones, the scene where Darth Vader is on that ship. And it's the very end of the movie, and he's just fucking people up. That is one of the better scenes I've ever seen. Was that I forget what that movie's called. See, they all lump together. That's the problem. But whatever movie that is, when he's in the ship and he starts fucking people up, is ridiculous. Would it make sense for us to only draft from big schools, Alabama, in the late rounds that have the most pro-ready players to hit the ground running? No, John. No. I would almost rather. I would almost like to have more time to formulate my opinion, because I know I can go in more depth in this, but I'd almost rather have guys who are small school guys who were overlooked and take the chance for the big swing than the guys who were clearly given a big platform and still didn't perform enough to be top picks, if you feel what I'm saying. I'd rather take a swing on a small school guy later than the pro-ready guys from Bama or whatever it may be. You know, Mikey Malls, the animated Star Wars show are canon to Star Wars universe and stories. Some of the comics are canon. I'm not sure. I know there's that one that people talk about. But is it Clone Wars or whatever? But like I looked up like 200 episodes. Like I'm not watching 200 episodes of cartoons. I can't do it. If it was like 10, okay. 200, I can't do cartoons for 200. I just did start watching Always Sunny, which at first I didn't like. I liked it, but I just watched the episode. I'm on season 3. I watched the episode where Frank spoiler alert, you know, I guess it's like 10 years old at this point, but Frank takes acid and he puts acid in what's his name's beer, and then he trips balls and he's in a trash can and he goes and he thinks he's in the like the hillbillies camper. I was fucking dying, bro. When he's on acid and he gets out of the garbage can and he whips out the gun and he points it right at the dude's face, I lost it. I watched it like a week ago, just died. And then I made my wife watch it last night, and I fucking couldn't control myself. I'm not like a belly laugher type of guy, but that scene, for whatever reason, when he's on the ground and he flips the gun in the guy's face, I lose it, man. That shit's funny. Some of that shit is real funny from Always Sunny. Some of it's a little stupid, you know, obviously, but most part it's a funny show, man. Let's see. The Green, it was his video this morning. Yeah, I know he got hacked. That sucks, man. Like he had a good amount of followers doing the stuff he does, like reposting the videos and stuff, and then he got hacked, and you know, you're starting from new. Kind of that's pretty hard. 3 a.m. Eastern Wednesday morning it comes out. Okay, so it came out. It came out. So I gotta watch that. Is it true that Jets and Giants fans hate each other? Yeah, I hate Giants fans, and it's a proximity thing, and I think Jets fans might hate Giants fans more than Giants fans hate Jets fans, but Giants fans are very like white collar and big brother, and I think they're fucking awesome. I don't think they're as passionate of fans as Jets fans, but they probably do have more fans. But I think the Jets hate the Giants because they're viewed as the big brother. They've won 2 championships in the last 2 decades. We really haven't done shit. We've kind of deserved to be the little brother laughing stock. So, but yeah, it's a proximity thing. It's a battle for New York, all that stuff. So definitely. I hate Giants fans more than I hate any other fan base, minus I would say in order, and the Bills are creeping up there because they're getting cocky, but it's the Dolphins number one very, very easily. I hate Dolphins fans more than any other fan base in the NFL by far. Not even close. They fucking suck. Sorry for the cursing. Dolphins 1, Pats 2, Giants 3, Bills 4. And then there's some other ones that have trickled in there. And I think I'm in a shitty spot, not a shitty spot. But I have don't take my opinion for it because I hate every fan base. If I go to a game and the Jets lose and those fans talk shit, I hate them. So like I hate the Steelers, I hate the Browns, I hate the Vikings, I hate the Bills, I hate everybody. But there's definitely hate for the Giants, that's for sure. Worst case scenario, do we draft a cornerback? No, KD. In what scenario do we need a corner? We have, and this is not me being a biased Jets fan, as you guys know, we have probably the best 1-2-3 punch in the NFL at corner. Do we need another one? No, we do not. At that point, no, there's absolutely no way. I don't want to get into it. There's no way to take a corner. No way. Paul Essen was speculating. Yeah, so like I've seen like some of like heavy.com, whatever. A lot of speculation articles instead of actual reports. Like, oh, could this happen? And then it's interesting. People will click on it, but a report, no, I didn't see anything about Bakhtiari. So speculation, sure. I'm honestly relieved that so I can hit on that one too quickly. There's people mad out there that OBJ, we lost out on OBJ to the Ravens. Rich Cimini came out and said that the Jets might have been a little bit closer than people realized. I said that I was with OBJ making $7-8 million with maybe up to $3-4 million. Say it was his $8 million contract up to $12 million. Okay, and $12 million would even be a little bit high for me, but it's incentive-lative. So if he sucks, it's $8 million. Okay, that is what it is. I would be on board for that contract, but kind of like with Lazard, if it's anywhere really past Corey Davis, I wouldn't want to do it. $15 million guaranteed with $3 million in incentives. I think it's $1 million incentives. I think it's 1,000 yards, 9,000 yards, one mil, 9 touchdowns, 1 mil, 65 or 75 receptions is 1 mil. So he might hit those if healthy, which, okay, great. Pay him the $3 million. But that's way too high of a price for him. To me, just keep Davis for 10.5 over Odell at 15 up to 18. Now it's obviously the Jets thought they were going to get him, but at the end of the day, if the Ravens were going to up their offer, as much as they did, which we don't necessarily know exactly how much, then it is what it is. Now, how much were the Jets willing to pay him? To me, it has to be seemingly close, right? Like the Ravens just didn't go from 10 to 15. I would probably guess the Jets were at like 11 or 12 with a couple of million in incentives, and then the Ravens just came in last second, like, hey, $2-3 million over. Obviously, he called the Jets prior to signing with the Ravens the night before and said, hey, match the deal. They didn't match the deal. He signs with the Ravens, but to pay him $15 million is absurd. At the end of the day, he hasn't been productive. He hasn't played a game in a year and a half, bounced around teams and all that stuff now. Just $15 million is crazy. Just keep Corey Davis at that price. But yeah, $18 million is ridiculous. And now some of the other stuff, I guess I'll get into some of the other off topics that I have written down, but you have that didn't happen. So now I think your starting receiver next year or one of your starting receivers, it's either Corey Davis or JSN. It's going to be one of those guys on the Jets starting roster. There was the rumored interest in Hopkins per Breer. And it wasn't that was more speculation and report too. He didn't say, oh, the Jets are interested. We've heard that they've looked into it. It was more, oh, I think they could be interested, and people ran with it. Obviously, it is what it is. And then he comes out on whatever podcast, wherever he was, and he didn't seem to be very interested in the Jets. And now he's saying he might want to go to Buffalo, which is great. That's just what happens to us. We almost get Hill. He goes to fucking Miami. We almost think we can get Hopkins. He goes to Buffalo. We thought we might trade for Bradley Chubb last year. He goes to Miami, and at the end of the day, like any AFC team, like we got to start like a couple of years ago, if it was him, like Hopkins wanted to go to Buffalo or KC, I'd be like, okay, go to KC. Who cares? I know they're in the AFC, but we're not going to compete for anything. Even if he goes to Kansas City, that sucks because we're trying to win a Super Bowl. You want Hopkins to go NFC. Obviously, Buffalo would be the worst case scenario for the Jets because that would give the Bills the best 1-2 punch in the NFL, right? Like who else is up there? You have Higgins and Chase and all that stuff, but Hopkins is a legit number one still, in my opinion. Maybe more mid to lower tier now, but he could still be a number one for a year or two, in my opinion. And then you have Diggs, who is a top 10 receiver in the NFL. So you have the best 1-2 punch with an elite quarterback, dude. Like, can we not? If we lose it on Hopkins, can it not be Buffalo? Like that would really, really suck. But that's unfortunate for us. Other than that, man was cut. We all knew that was going to happen as soon as Morstead was brought in. There might be some of us who assumed, okay, that man would be cut right away, and maybe he competes. Regardless, they save $1 million, $2 million, whatever it is, cutting him. Morstead's your punter. Man was terrible. Waste of a draft pick. I get taking the swing on a guy in the 6th round, whatever it was for him. But what a bust. Punts 160 yards. The next punt is a line drive for 30 yards that they return. The next one after that is a 20-yard shank out of bounds. The next one after that is a 57-yard punt to their 5-yard line. Like, he was just so inconsistent. So I'm happy to have Morstead with the Jets. Other than that, we figured out Tim Boyle's contract with the Jets, which is 1 year, it was like 1.115 or something like that. But let's just call it 1 year, 1.1, with 75,000 guaranteed, which is nothing. So to me, that really just solidifies the fact that he is going to be a camp body for the Jets. Now, could I see him potentially going into the season and being quarterback 2? Maybe. But with 75,000 guaranteed, like, I just think he's a camp body for voluntary OTAs and all that stuff to get the system running, and then he's probably cut. Now, the only thing that's concerning to me about that is, if you're bringing in Boyle, are you ever going to end up bringing in a quarterback 2 that's not Boyle? Is it Boyle or bust? Like, is it Boyle performs well in camp, he's quarterback 2, or nothing else? Because Boyle at quarterback 2 is not enough to me. Zach Wilson at quarterback 2 in a championship year is not enough for me. So I think the Jets are going to be in a shitty spot at quarterback 2 going into the season, which to me is not ideal roster building, especially in a Super Bowl or bust year. But that's what they're deciding to do. I think realistically, the Jets and Joe Douglas, I'm not saying necessarily last year, but they've flubbed up backup quarterback multiple times in his tenure. His first year, Zach Wilson's first year, not having a legit backup quarterback behind him until late in the offseason. They traded for Flacco in the preseason. That was a mistake to me. This year, having Boyle or Wilson as your quarterback 2 is a mistake to me. So Joe Douglas has had a little bit of a shit sandwich at backup quarterback, which is not ideal. Again, having Tim Boyle or Zach Wilson as your quarterback 2 in a situation where they might need to come in for a game that they need to win is definitely not ideal. Definitely not ideal. Get Teddy Bridgewater's out there, Chase Daniel, get somebody. Tim Boyle? Fuck. Other than that, we also figured out Quentin Jefferson's contract with the Jets. It was 1 year deal, base value of 3.6 with 2.75 million guaranteed. They can max out at 4.25 with incentives. How Quentin Jefferson got less money than Nathan Shepard per year blows my mind. Some of the contracts in the NFL, I just do not understand. I don't understand how he gets less money than Nathan Shepard. I'll never understand how CJ Uzomah got more money than Tyler Conklin, but it is what it is. It's the world we live in. But listen, they're trying to pour $11 million into Cox. They're trying to pour in $8-9 million to, into Campbell. They're trying to pour money. They tried to, didn't they have rumored interest in another D tackle? I forget who it was. But I don't think them getting Quentin Jefferson for $3.6 million, let's just call it 3.6 for the time being, is enough to them to pivot off their need at D tackle. Like, they're going to bring in another D tackle undoubtedly to me. But still a pretty good contract. Seeing the fact that, again, Shepard got $5 million-ish a year, I expect Quentin Jefferson to get probably 6 or 7. But hey, 3.6 is a good price. It gives us some flexibility, or at least it's less than I thought it would be. So, other than that, the tackle news: Simmons signed. Jeffrey Simmons from the Titans. He signed was it 4 or 5 year deal? I know that per year was about $23 million a year. Do the Jets get Q signed soon? To me, it needs to happen. I get that. Okay, like, you're waiting for Rodgers and all that stuff, but you could do 2 things at once. Like, listen, at the end of the day, it is their full-time job to do multiple things at once, and I don't think they're just staring at their phone and just hoping for Rodgers to come. Like, I know it could be prohibitive in terms of like how they work out the contracts and stuff, and Rodgers isn't here, so it's not easy to negotiate, whatever, blah, 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 blah. But to me, get Q done. Now, am I nervous right now that at this point in the offseason, he's skipping voluntary OTAs or minicamp, whatever it's called? I think it's OTAs now, right? I always forget minicamp versus OTAs and what's the difference. But he told us his postseason interview that he would not attend OTAs, voluntary OTAs, if he didn't have a contract. He's not attending. It was expected. Now, if this trickles into the mandatory stuff and he's skipping, then it gets concerning. But to me, just sign him. Like, I don't understand what the holdup is with him. Now, maybe it's Q's camp. Like, you can't just say, oh, well, the Jets they should offer money. And that Q's going to sign it. Q could be sitting there with a $25 million offer on the table from the Jets, but he's waiting for whoever else, the next defensive tackle, to get signed. I'm not sure who else needs to be signed. Like Christian Wilkins needs to be signed, maybe, or Dexter Lawrence, whoever it is needs to be signed as well. Maybe both of those guys. maybe he's sitting there and saying, yeah, $25 million is great, but I'm going to wait until Dexter Lawrence is signed for 24.5, and I'm going to demand 26. And I think there's a tweet out there where he liked a tweet that he would, basically like a contract guess, it'd be like $26 million a year, and he liked it. I said from the jump, I thought it'd be $23 to $25 million. I feel like it's probably $25 million. Like right now, if I had to sign that, like guess exactly what I think it would be right around like a 4-year, $100 million deal for him. 25 clean, more than half of it guaranteed, and you keep him here for a long time. But maybe he wants to do a shorter deal. Maybe he wants to do 3 years, because at the end of the day, he's 24 years old. If he signs a 3-year deal, 27 in his prime, he can sign another massive contract. So betting on himself a little bit, but I can see that happening. Q not reporting again. It's not a too big of a deal for me, but I would like to see it get done before it's mandatory and starts trickling into mandatory stuff and all that. So let's see. Other little slight news before we do like a mock draft. I get to the rest of the chat. Garrett Wilson confirmed that he's wearing 5 next year, not this upcoming year. This upcoming year, he's wearing 17. Next year, he's wearing 5, which doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Like I'm way too impatient of a person and wanting things done now that I can never see myself wearing a number for a year, knowing that the next year I'm switching numbers. But with that being said, obviously I'm not Garrett Wilson. And 2, with that being said, does that hint towards the Jets maybe getting a uniform change in 24? And like, okay, I'll rock 17, but when the new uniforms come out, I'll be in 5. It's interesting that he has a hold on 2 numbers right now. Like, who's to say that in a rookie or whoever doesn't come in and want 5, but Garrett Wilson confirms he's wearing 5 next year. So he's telling people like, hey, don't wear 5. So he has 17 and 5. A little bit interesting. And then Lazard is wearing 10 for the Jets as well, which going from Barrios wearing 10 to Lazard. I don't love Lazard in 10, but I think that's usually like a quarterback number or like the slot receiver number. But whatever. Okay, let's see the rest of the chat. People talk about the AR trade or the Aaron Rodgers trade in here too. I already talked about that a little bit. I do think it happens before the draft. But listen, at the end of the day, if it doesn't happen before the draft and we get to keep 42 or is it 43 and 44 or 42 and 43? I think it's 42 and 43. You have to keep both those picks. Awesome. Do I want the trade done now though? Yeah, fuck it. Like just get rid of them. Just get 42, 43, whatever it is. And give me Aaron Rodgers. I just want it done. If Mac or Tannenbaum was GM, they would have Odell $20 million. Yeah, Two huge upsets last night. The 2 top seeds in the West Coast, both losing game 1 in hockey. Yeah, that's why hockey's great. Like legitimately, the 7th or 8th seed can win any game. I agree with your take on Kevin Durant. Couldn't agree more. Yeah, he's soft. He's soft as hell, man. And then Kyrie. Like I'm not getting into the whole vaccine stuff. I don't disagree with his stance on all that stuff. Like I get it, but the whole retweeting of like that whole book that was like apparently like anti-Semitic and him like taking mental breaks. Like he took a mental break, I think, at some point during one of the seasons, and then he got videotaped with him out at his cousin's birthday party. Like you're skipping games as a professional athlete, getting paid millions of dollars, and you're out at your cousin's birthday at a club. It's just not a good look. And then Harden got frustrated with Kyrie, and then Harden wanted to trade. It was just such a shit show. And like that series, I remember that series against the Bucks. They were up 2-0, and then they obviously blew it. Up 2-0. They blew the series as soon as Harden was limped, or he was working on like half like the entire series. And then there's a play where Kyrie came down on Antetokounmpo's foot and he hurt himself. I was like, fuck, dude. And it just all snowballed from there. But what a disappointment. That is the biggest bust in NBA history of a super team gathering. And of course, it's on my team. Of course. Now, these Nets that are playing today are much more rootable. Rootable. I don't know. They're much more easy to root for, I should say, because like Mikal Bridges he's a fun guy to root for. Cam Johnson's been picking it up. Like I like a lot of the guys on their team, but they're not going to win anything. If they win 1 game to the Sixers, I'll be happy. They competed last game, but it just didn't. It obviously it didn't happen. It's not a good matchup, man. Spencer Dinwiddie is a very drive heavy guard, and driving on Embiid is not the best idea. I don't like Embiid either. Embiid's soft as hell too. He fakes a lot of fouls. Ricky New York. Joe, I watched highlights of a dozen safeties from this year's class, and all I saw was blitzing, big hits, and run support. The only guy I saw with interception or pass defense is Chris Smith. What's your opinion? I don't have an opinion. From what I've seen other people say, it's not a heavy range safety draft, and it's not a heavy safety draft in general. It seems like a lot of the guys you can get in this year's draft are those box hybrid type guys, which the Jets don't need, especially now with Whitehead and Clark on the team. Now, again, is Clark or Whitehead more of a linebacker, more of that nickel backer? Okay, then I could see maybe them keeping both of those guys and then fitting in a free safety. But in general, right now, the Jets do not need another box safety. So I think the Jets might roll with a Tony Adams. To me, the planet safety, okay, like if you like a guy in the 4th round and you have the competition between him and Adams, okay, that's one avenue I could see. The other avenue I see is seeing how Tony Adams plays in camp, or and then signing a guy, or even if not in camp, just signing a guy later in free agency. Like at the end of the day, I know everybody wants everything done pre-draft, but when did we sign Quan Alexander last year? That was in what, July, right? June, July. We traded for Morgan Moses, in May, 2 years ago. So you can always address, starting spots after the draft. And if you miss on a guy in the draft, let's say they like, I don't know, Brandon Joseph in the 4th round, but he's not there. So, okay, we don't draft the safety. And then you go into, post free agency or post-draft free agency. And there's guys like Rodney McLeod out there who you could sign for $2 million, who would be a better free safety than we had in Joyner last year. So there are still some options out there. So with those secondary needs, linebacker, even though they're not really secondary to me, to be completely honest, but like those needs like linebacker, safety, the Jets might be waiting to see what happens in the draft. Okay, we love this guy in the 4th round, whether it be a safety or a linebacker. If we miss on him, Quan's back. If we miss on the safety, McLeod is here. So, there's a possibility of them still signing a guy, but it doesn't seem like, from everything I've heard, by that be like Daniel Jeremiah is a name I trust, and it seems like it's not a deep safety class. So I don't think the Jets are going to find their guy. Jets mess. Hello. Appreciate you being here. Jordan Victor, did you look into Darnell Wright at all? The more I look into him, the more I think he's a guy at 13. Yeah, have I looked into him at all? Yes, I've watched a little bit of film on him. I've watched some highlights on him. I've seen some breakdowns of him online. I've seen some guys like Brandon Thorne, whoever it is, like put up plays, whatever's on your For You on your Twitter timeline that pops up with Darnell Wright. To me, I would be okay with the pick at 13. I don't think the whole right tackle, left tackle thing, I think people put too much emphasis on that in general. But with that being said, even if you do really emphasize left tackle over right tackle, we have 2 left tackles. You have Becton, you have Brown. You let those guys battle it out. Whoever wins is a starter. Whoever loses is the backup. Same thing with right tackle. If you bring in Darnell Wright, you let him compete with Max Mitchell. If he beats him out, great. If not, Max Mitchell is your guy and he's the backup. Now let's be transparent here and say if Darnell Wright went to camp and he lost a battle to a 4th round rookie from last year, that would not be a great look for your pick at 13, but it is what it is. So I would be okay with Darnell Wright at 13. And honestly, there's a world where and right now, I would prefer Johnson or Skronski, or depending on what happens at receiver, JSN. But let's say receivers figured out. Darnell Wright's probably my 3rd tackle, like the 3rd tackle I'll be happiest with. But there is a world where I'm happier with Darnell Wright over Paris Johnson. And just pause for a second. The reason for that being is Darnell Wright is a safer prospect. I think he might be a lower ceiling, higher floor player than Johnson. So whatever your line of thinking is with, safe for ceiling type deal, I could see people arguing for either one at 13. But I would be okay with Wright at 13. I would be okay with it. I would not be happy with Jones at 13 though. I can't do Jones. M. Lopez, whatever happened to Cadra, a lot of fans were high on him. I don't know which fans. I was never high on him, to be completely honest. M. Lopez. He was a guy who was consistently injured in college, converting to tight end. A guy who was injured a lot, going to a more physical position than the position you were already getting injured at. I didn't think it was the best move, but he played decently well for the Giants. But yeah, no, I wasn't high on him. 94, I don't know what that means. To be honest, I stopped watching hockey for a while and got back into it a bit over the last few years. I used to be a huge fan, so no hate for the Devils or Islanders. Yankees fan, though. I get it. Like the Yankees are the probably the biggest brand in sports, right? Like right? I would say the biggest 3 sports franchises like recognizable worldwide are the Yankees, the Lakers, The Lakers, the Yankees, hockey. I don't really think there's a team, and I'll probably say the Cowboys. Right? I'd say the Cowboys are probably still the most recognizable team in the NFL. I think you can make an argument for like maybe maybe not the Pats over the last couple of years, yeah. But I would probably say like the most like classic is Cowboys, Yankees, and Lakers. But I get it. I get the Yankees fans. It's just listen, like again, I would like to see research on how much more money they had for all their championships that they've won. Some of them had to be double of the price of all the other MLBs. Like, yeah, great, but you were working with double the money. It's like, yeah, no shit, you got better players and you won. That's usually what happens. So Knicks fans thought they were getting the broom for the Cavs. They got a wake-up call. They didn't lose. I honestly I didn't like research anything. I pretty much woke up today, like had breakfast with my wife. She left for work. Walked my dog, played with him outside a little bit. Gas him out. Now he's sleeping. Now he's sleeping. So I had to gas him out so he's not barking during the show. So I didn't really see anything. I guess the Knicks lost to the Cavs. Yeah, I'm rooting for the Cavs. I'm sorry for all my people who are Jets, not Knicks fans. I can't deal with Knicks fans. So I root for the Knicks to lose every game they play. I'm sorry. Yankees fan, I mean. And Lopez, Joe, in your opinion, with our current offensive weapons, wide receiver, tight end, running back, do you think Aaron Rodgers is upgrading? Oh, dude, yeah, 100%. And the Packers last year, Romeo Doubs was bad last year. I'm sorry, he was. Watson, I think he has a high ceiling, but he wasn't consistent. Past that is, MVS wasn't even there. Who was his receiver 3? It was Lazard, Watson, Doubs. Doubs was not good. Lazard is okay at best, but definitely upgrading receiver. Offensive line, I can't name their starters like one for one. But Bakhtiari was injured a lot of the year. Their left guard and their right tackle were not good last year. I don't know their names, but they were not good. So their offensive line, assuming the Jets invest, into center and tackle, is going to be an upgrade. There's no world where I see the Jets not investing either in like a Ben Jones or a first or second round pick in center and tackle. So you're going to see high investment via dollars or draft the capital first or second round pick into tackle and center. I think it'd be safe to assume that. So the offensive line's better, the receivers are better, the tight ends are better. Tunyon is bad. I'm sorry. Packers fans, you don't care anymore coming to the Bears. He was way overrated. He was garbage, in my opinion. I'm sorry. And then they had another tight end who was young who dropped multiple passes. So the tight ends were not good. The receivers were not good. Their offensive line was not good. Their defense was not good. They have some players there, but yeah, he's upgrading pretty much every single position group. The only position group I would argue right now is running back, because they had Aaron Jones, they had Dylan, but to me, Breece is better than Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones is overrated to me too. Like I watched him, and his hands aren't impressive. I don't think he's the best guy with his vision. So like maybe he was watching it through a Jets fan glasses. I was just trying to find reasons for his down year, but I wasn't impressed by a lot of the Packers players. I really wasn't. That's trying to be as unbiased as I can, but I don't think Packers fans are going to tell you that Tunyon is better than Conklin, or anything they had last year is better than Garrett Wilson, or anything they had last. Lazard, you're taking Lazard away from them. I don't know, but yeah, he's definitely upgrading. He's definitely upgrading. Sure. Especially considering we're going to invest in at least center and tackle. Nathan, underestimating the team with the best defensive rating and a defensive player of the year was a bad idea. Who are you talking about? Who are you talking about, Nathan? I'm like a half an hour behind the chat, so I'm not sure what we're talking about. Underestimating the team with the best defensive rating and a defensive player of the year was a bad idea. You are talking about I don't know. I don't know who Keely Ringo is, so sure. Candidate Joe, what's up? Rich, appreciate you. Where were you Thursday? Ruined my Friday. I'm sorry. It's just my last couple of weeks have been busy. And now I'm getting moved to day shift. So I've been a midnight guy, and I'm moving to day shift as of May 1st. So my schedule shouldn't be as crazy, but I was trying to work something with Kyle. It just didn't work out. So I apologize. Really nothing happened last week as well. So hello, Joe. Hello, Christian. Mikey Maltz. I appreciate all the questions, guys. I know there's only like 50 people in here, but you guys are asking a lot, so it's really helping me out. Just breeze through this, so I appreciate the activity of the people who are here. Hypothetically, if no O-line is taken by 13, I know I'm not you trading back. It depends. So 2 factors. Is Jackson Smith and Jigba there? If he is, okay, what's your plan at receiver with Corey Davis? Do they like JSN? If JSN's there and they plan on moving from Corey Davis, you take JSN. If JSN is not there, I would love to trade back. Second part of it is who are you trading back with and what are they trading up for? You need 2 to tango. So you're sitting there and you're like, oh, we want to trade back because there's no good players there. Are those teams looking at the Jets, calling them and saying, hey, we want to trade back? And they're looking at the players available like, fuck that. These guys suck. I don't want to trade up. So ideally, yeah, if a guy is not there, or if there's nobody there that you want, you trade back and get more picks. Obviously, that's most ideal, but 2 to tango. I would love to trade back to 21, get an extra second round pick and draft Darn all right. But, is that a risk you take? At the point where, okay, how far are you trading back? Like, let's say the Jets like Paris Johnson, Skronski, and Wright. And Paris Johnson and Skronski go, and they want to trade back to grab Wright, but the team that they're going, the only team they can trade back with is the whatevers at pick 23, but they think Darnell Wright's going to go before then. So are you going to take the risk on him, on the player you want being gone, or are you just going to take him at 13? You like the player, just take him at 13. I don't know. I would love to trade back. But I think Jones has a great future, but it's raw. Yeah. John Mechie? Is that talking about from Bama? Yeah, the receiver? I don't know if that's who he was talking about before, but that's a good pull, Ricky. I know John Mechie had medical problems. That's why he fell. I think Jones has a great future, but is raw. Yeah. Mechie's a guy who fell, who we thought would go higher. Who's the Ohio State corner I brought up from a couple of years ago who went a lot lower? There's always guys. Robert Camdici. You're talking about, he's a D lineman for the Cardinals right now. So San Fran taking calls on Trey Lance. Yeah, I saw that too. Who's going to trade? Like, he hasn't played he's played like one football game in 4 years. Who's going to trade anything for him? I don't know. What's up, Handsome Joe? Appreciate you. And my Jets super fan. Bust from the Cardinals. Kendichi, who's doing that? Okay, yeah. If I'm the Jets, I'd rather take Kalijah Kancey over Carter at this point. At 13, give me neither. Tay with it. What's up, Joe? Going to the police academy this summer? Any tips? Email me. Say with it. Joe Blewett at jetsxfactor.com. Jets with an X, with an S. I will try to make a short list of things you should look out for. I don't know where you're going. I don't know what state you're in. I don't know what academy you're going into. But yeah, I got some tips. I used to sneak food in my shoes at the academy. But yeah, there's some tips you get. Good luck though. It sucks. The first couple days suck. I don't know how many hell days you have. The hell days are terrible. They push you. That's for sure. But congrats. I'm curious where you're going to, who you're working for, all that stuff. Let me know. If you need any help, let me know. Joe.Blue at jetsexpert.com. Email me. I'll try to send you some tips. Mikey Moles. I want a guy that can switch outside and inside because Moore is gone. Maybe just a slot receiver is fine too. I see Wilson switch between the two. The thing with that too is Wilson can play inside outside. Lazard is an inside outside guy. He played almost 50% of his reps at slot, so I don't think he's just an outside guy. Harbin should be inside outside. So we have a lot of flexibility. And JSN, like I know people think, route runner inside, but I've seen him win outside as well. Ian Rappaport is reporting, or Ian Rappaport is reporting 49ers taking calls for Lance. Would you trade Zach Wilson for Trey Lance straight up? I know not. Yeah, fuck yeah. Why not? We know Zach Wilson's a bust at this point, right? We could say it. He's a bust. Trey Lance, there's still a shot in the dark that he could be the answer. There's still a chance. Would I do it? Yeah, definitely. Now, with that being said, how much more do you have to try to develop? And you should, ideally pouring just as much time into whoever your quarterback 2 is, no matter who it is. But do you have to pour more time into Lance? And how does Rodgers feel about that and all that? And then there's a bunch of different avenues we can take with that. But yeah, Trey Lance for Zach Wilson, I think out of every person who's in here and who watches this in the future, I don't think one person's going to say, no, I'd rather have Wilson over Lance. Jets 2022, Garrett Wilson. Jets 2022, Garrett Wilson. 2023, JSN. 2024, Marvin Harrison Jr. Dude, yeah, that'd be great. And Marvin Harrison Jr. seems like a guy who right now seems like he's gonna be a top 5 pick. Like he seems like he's like that. I'm not saying 1-for-1 player comparisons, but he is like that Julio player who's gonna be drafted top 5. So. Anthony S. The top 3. This is This is a very popular question today and in the past. Anthony, yes, I appreciate it though. If the top 3 offensive linemen, JSN and Carter and Clodagh Clancy are all gone, it's 100% a trade back, but one of those guys are going to be there. One of those guys is going to be there, like you said, Anthony. I agree with you because there's a ton of DNs, there's a ton of corners, there's a ton of like there's Christian Gonzalez, there's another corner, I forget what his name is. There's at least 3 or 4 defensive linemen who are going in the top 15. There's at least 3 quarterbacks. So if you have 3 quarterbacks, you got 3 defensive linemen, at least 3 or 4 defensive linemen. You got 2 or 3 corners. You're talking about 9 or 10 players there in the first 13 picks. We're definitely going to go most likely. So like one of those guys is going to fall. There's no way that all 3 of the top offensive linemen are gone. JSN and all those guys. There's just no way. One of those guys will fall. Now, I think it'd be silly to assume that all those guys are draftable for the Jets at 13. And again, who are your top 3 offensive linemen? To me, Broderick Jones is my 4th. Darnell Wright is my 3rd. He might even be my 2nd. So it depends on how they view those players. The Jets are definitely not better than the Cowboys. I disagree with you. That's fine. If we went through the rosters one for one, I think the argument's there for offense for the Cowboys over the Jets, but their defense, who do they have on defense? Like I get they have Parsons and they have Lawrence and they have Diggs, but I think our defense is legitimately a top 10 defense, and they're average to below average at best. And then at receiver, they have Lamb, they have Cooks. They still have Gallup? Do they still have Gallup? Yeah, they still have Gallup. They have Pollard. I'm taking a running back room over them. Their offensive line is injured and banged up. Tyron Smith hasn't been the same. Their tight ends, Schultz was a disappointment last year. So yeah, I think the Jets are. I don't think they're definitely. I think they're not definitely better than the Cowboys, but I don't think they're definitely not better than the Cowboys. I don't agree with that. I think there's an argument, but definitely not. Really, are you sure? Aaron Rodgers versus Dak. I'm taking Aaron Rodgers. Brees versus Pollard, I'm taking Brees. Garrett Wilson next year versus Lamb, I'm taking Garrett Wilson over him. Our defense overall over their defense, I'm taking our defense. Their tight ends, okay, maybe take Schultz. Maybe you take their offensive line, but it's an argument. But I right now, one for one, I'm taking the Jets over the Cowboys. And I don't want to self-proclaim myself to be the one of the more less biased Jet YouTubers out there, but I usually have a pretty good relatively grounded because of the film too. The film makes you be grounded. So thoughts on Jones taking off after the season like Thomas for the Giants did, both from GA. Thoughts on Jones taking off after a season like Tom? Are you talking about how Thomas was like slow start and then took off? But Andrew Thomas was much more pro ready. I would take Thomas and over Jones 100 times out of 100 if they're in the same draft. And Thomas to me was the 4th best tackle in that draft, and that's okay. He turned out to be a stud. He's arguably the 1st or 2nd best out of that class. It's either him or Wirfs, whoever you want to argue for, which is fine. But nonetheless, he was my tackle 4, and he was much better than Jones. In that draft, Jones is probably a second-round guy. It just is what it is. So I don't want to reach for Jones at 13. I think he's a reach. Nathan Colgrove, honestly thought Smith was going to be first all the way, despite the odds shifting to Banchero the afternoon of, but good thing Banchero was the choice. Okay, you're talking about NBA stuff here? Hey, Dolphins fans, I don't care about the Giants. Well, Eagle, you don't care about the Giants because you live in Florida. And I don't want to speak for you. Like, that's might not be the only reason. But I think Jets fans who are from Jersey and New York have much more high of a chance to hate Giants fans than Jets fans from Carolina, from Florida, from Texas, from Cali, from Ireland, from Tokyo. We have listeners from. So yeah, I can understand people not being from the area, not hating the Giants. People who are from here, I hate the Giants. Okay, Joe, is Rodgers coming or what? Giants fans keep it. Yeah, no, he's coming. Every day I get gas, and the same gas tank is like, what's happening with Rodgers? It'll happen. It should happen before the draft. If I had to bet my money, it's before the draft. Could I see it playing out until June or something like that? Sure, but I think it happens before the draft. I think the draft is the accelerator, and they start getting on the phone again. Agree, Joe, with your list. I hate Giants fans because they treat Jets fans like second. And so my problem with this is for New York sports fans, right, Jacob? I'm not going to put words in your mouth, but if you're saying this and then you're a Rangers fan who shits on Devils fans, if you're Yankees fans who shits on Mets fans, If you're a Rangers fan who shits on Islanders fans, if you're a Knicks fan who shits on Nets fans, you have no right to say this. For all the Jets fans who hate the Giants for how the Giants act towards the Jets, understand that's the same shit with the Knicks to the Nets, the Yankees to the Mets, and the other sport I'm forgetting about. But if you hate being a little brother, then don't be that asshole Rangers fans who, the Devils don't matter, the Nets don't matter. Oh, I fucking hate the Giants. They treat us like second-class citizens. When you do that for the same shit for the other teams. So that happens a lot, and I hate that. I hate Jets fans that are like that. So I'm curious to see. But I think I think Jacob's a Nets or a Devils fan. I'm pretty sure I've seen him put that in there before. So, yeah, don't hate the Giants and then be one of those Rangers or Yankees fans. I agree with your list. I'm not sure what list it is. Wow, new stream time. No, it's just I couldn't do it tonight, and the playoffs are on tomorrow. If the Bulls and the around the same time, I could do it, but my family's gonna come over. I know my brother-in-law is gonna chill out, and we're gonna watch some playoff hockey. Wide receiver is not a priority over center safety. It depends. It depends. Right now, no, it's not. It's not. There's always so many different arguments. Like there's so many different, and I try to go like different thinking into arguments because I know people responses and stuff. But is wide receiver right now a priority over center or safety? No, and it's never going to be a priority over center because center you legitimately do not have a starting guy right now. Receiver over safety is not a priority because you do not have a starting safety. Now, even if you were to get rid of Davis, right? Let's live in a world where you're rid of Davis and your top three guys are Hardman, Lazard, and Wilson, right? Do you have more faith in Lazard and Hardman being your starters than you do at Tony Adams at safety? Yes, in a vacuum. But with that being said, do you want to have that legitimate starting receiver to maximize your potential output in a high investment guy in Rodgers? You know what I'm saying? Like I'd rather have a very good starting receiving core and struggle a little bit at safety to maximize Rodgers' potential than I would to get that safety. But in a vacuum, center's a bigger need right now than receiver. Safety's a bigger need than receiver right now. Linebacker is a bigger need than receiver right now. I would argue that D tackle is a bigger need than receiver right now. That's assuming Corey Davis is on the roster. Is Corey Davis in the trade? Whole different conversation. But right now, with the roster as is, receiver is not a big need. It's a secondary need. I want that receiver 5 right now. But with Corey Davis not on the team, it's definitely a need. And in a vacuum, again, even with Corey Davis not on the roster, safety is still a bigger need, individually position to position. But I'd rather invest more in receiver, for Rodgers. If we go into the season with what we have at receiver, yeah, I'll be fine. Yeah, it's a fine group. Right now, receiving core is solid, not great. Now, how do you feel about that receiving core week 12 when Corey Davis is out and McCole Hardman's your 3? We'll see. Flowers is my number. Yeah, I know Zay Flowers is the guy who's kind of come up there, right? It's like the big guys right now. It seems like the top guys is, obviously Addison, JSN, Flowers, and Quentin Johnson. I would say the top 4. It seems like pretty comfortably. So I if you're going to argue one guy or the other, I get it. But to me, it's JSN. Rodgers can't get any wide receiver if O-line is putrid. Yeah. But again, Kev, we both know they try to sign centers. They're in contract with Ben Jones. They try to sign Orlando Brown. They're going to make high investment in both in center and tackle. It's going to happen. So I wouldn't be overly concerned. See how it plays out first. Okay, with it. What's up, Joe? Going to Police Academy this summer? Any advice? Oh yeah, I saw that before. I answered you. I just got to keep scrolling down. I'm almost. If that's what Q is thinking, then trade him. Where are you guys talking about Q? Oh, I missed something. With confidence, do you believe Quinnen Williams is worth $25+ million a year? I'm iffy about it, but the Jets have to take care of their own. Yeah. Listen, like, is it? Sorry for stuttering. Are you okay in the thinking to be iffy on him being $25 million a year? I don't think you're crazy, Eagle. Like, do you now? Worth it versus not paying it, it's a completely different conversation. Not paying it is crazy. Him not necessarily living up to it, I could see being a conversation because at the end of the day, he was one of the league's better D tackle, or he was a top 3 to 5 D tackle in the league this year. But that was 1 year out of 4. Now, obviously, rookie year, second year, whatever, we could extend it in circumstances. 3-4 rookie year, raw in college. Okay, there's conversations we can go into about how productive we exactly should have expected him to be coming right off to the jump. But has he been a top 3 to 5 D tackle in the last, consistently the last 4 years? No. So you have a right to be concerned he's not going to live up to it. Maybe he gets paid $25 million a year and he's the 5th or 6th best D tackle who deserves more, close to $20 million a year. Okay, that's a conversation we can have, but not paying it would be silly. Not paying it would be silly. Now, is he going to be the 2nd best or 3rd best defensive tackle the next 3, 4, 5 years? I can't guarantee that. So I think you're fine being somewhat concerned he's not going to necessarily live up to it. But to say, hey, okay, no, trade him, we're out of here, can't do that. Kev says Quinnen Williams should wait till next year if he wants to be prioritized Super Bowl. His contract will be better next year. It's easy for you to say that, Kev, but at the end of the day, he's playing for the rest of his life, and you can never guarantee the next year in the NFL. What if he snaps his leg in half? Get his money now. I'm never gonna have a problem with athletes wanting their contracts or wanting to get their contracts. Okay, trade him. I'm not sure with the Q stuff. Okay, NY Knicks, Randall and Vetch should have sat down late in the game. By the way, RJ sucks. Yeah, I don't know what happened in game 1 with the Knicks, but apparently Knicks fans are not happy with RJ Barrett now. What do you think of Chuck's Clark tape? I talked about it a little bit last time I was on the stream, Eagle, to just be very, very baseline opinion. He's solid. Master of none, jack of all trades type of guy. He could do pretty much anything you want him to do. Again, more linebacker, box safety than deep guy. He can play deep in a pinch. You don't want him there all the time, but very solid in the box, very good in man coverage versus non-elite athletic tight ends. Very good angles, very patient, very good understanding of route concepts, very active vibes and zone drops. I like Clark a lot, especially when you're considering a 7th round pick, $3-4 million for him. I like Clark. If you were to put Chuck Clark's tape in front of me and then put Whitehead's tape in front of me last offseason, and you said, hey, one of these guys is going to make $7 to $10 million a year, and one guy's going to make $4. There's no way I would have picked Whitehead over Clark. Clark is the better player than Whitehead in a vacuum. And then you consider price into that, he's a slam dunk over Whitehead at strong safety. So we need extra cap after draft to get cut, etc. That's why Quinnen Williams mentioned has to wait until next year. Yeah, but you could push the hits into years, and it's not like he's getting a new contract. Like, he's getting an extension, so he still might make the money he's making this year, which is it like 13 million or something he's making this year? It's like $9 to $13 million, and then the cap hits can hit you in 24, 25. So it's not like, oh, he gets a $25 million deal for the next 4 years or whatever and has to kick in next year. It could be he's getting paid $10 million this year, whatever it is, and then that $25 million kicks in 25, 26, 27. And even if it didn't, there's ways to structure the contract where it could be later hits. It's not like $25 million a year. Okay, it's a $25 million hit this year. So it's not so cut and dry with that, Kev. Another question or comment from Kev. Ideal scenario is if a quarterback falls to pick 13, pick him or trade. Well, you're definitely not going to pick him. That is for sure. Or trade down a few spots to get a QB needy team. Tired of hostage situation with Rodgers. Well, it's the Packers and the Jets now. It's not Rodgers. It's Rodgers being held hostage by the Packers. But you're definitely not picking a quarterback at that point. That would be a joke. And trading down a quarterback needy team. Who is there behind us who would trade for a quarterback? Let's see. NFL draft order. Like, what team? What's the quarterback? Okay, let's see. What teams are below us? Patriots? No. Packers? No. Commanders? Maybe. Lions? Maybe. Bucks? Maybe. Okay, there's some teams down there you could see doing it. Seahawks? Maybe. You never know. Trade up for like a Will Levis or Anthony Richardson, sit him behind Geno for a year. Okay. Yeah, it's a possibility. It's a possibility. Rich, think it's an unpopular opinion, but I'm leaning more toward JSN at 13 if he's there. I know we need a tackle, but I would just go after Fleming. Okay, Rich. Sure, but okay, you don't take that tackle. Fleming signs elsewhere. What are you doing? Like, you have to look at that situation too. So, to me, right now, is JSN a better player than maybe any of the tackles in this draft? I could see the argument for that. I might even be on your side with that. But there's many more avenues to bring in a decent starting level receiver, including just keeping Corey Davis, one you already have on your roster on the team. Whereas tackle, there's not as many options past, okay, bringing in Fleming. But if Fleming signs elsewhere, what are you going to do? You know, draft a guy in the second round, third round, and then you have a second, third round pick competing with Mitchell in a Super Bowl year at right tackle. Is that enough? Not for me. Not for me. So, NY Jets super fan, hockey, MLB, and NBA are great only for playoffs. NFL. Yeah, like obviously this is an opinion piece, right? And my Jets super fan. Hockey is great always. I like hockey always because they always compete. MLB, I get like the classic MLB fans who are not liking the pitch clock and all the bullshit that comes with the pitch clock, but I do like watching a Mets game that's over in 2.5 hours. NBA regular season sucks. Like the NBA regular season's the only thing there's no argument for saying, oh, it's great. Hockey, I think every game is good. MLB, you know, I get the lack of caring because it's 162 games, so there's not as much importance for games, but it's still fine baseball. NBA regular season is absolute garbage, though. It's garbage. It's terrible. NBA sucks. Everything about the NBA sucks. There's nothing good about the NBA. It's just you like basketball, so you watch it, and it's the best athletes playing. But like the way the league is structured, the superstar shit, you know, people dictating where they want to go. I don't like it. I don't like that guys are not jumping for rebounds and they're making $10 million a year, and they're barely even trying to literally not even running in for a rebound. Just start running the opposite way when the ball is up. And it's like a point guard who just shot the ball from 30 feet away. It's like a power forward who's like at the free throw line and he's even trying to get a rebound. It's like, really? So, let's see. Okay. And like a super fan, so I guess we are keeping Lawson, Mosley, and Whitehead and Corey Davis. No, like there could still be moves that are made with this. Let's say there's so many different ways to go. With like just like Corey Davis, you know, Lawson's a question mark. Mosley's staying here. Lawson's again still a question mark to me. Whitehead's a question mark. Davis is but let's just look at Davis, and we can get into really individually each one of these guys. But right now, with just Davis, you could assume they're keeping him. But what if they're thinking, hey, we like Davis as a starter right now, but if JSN is there, then we're taking him. If he's not there, he's going to be on the roster. So there's still so many things that can happen in the rest of the offseason. Maybe they have Whitehead on the team for now, but if they sign Rodney McLeod in a couple of months, then they cut Whitehead. Like those guys, I still think Whitehead and Davis are not safe. Whitehead, Davis, and Lawson, one of those guys is going to be gone. I can't see all those guys being on the team, but we'll see. I hope JD trades Lawson and allow Huff, JJ, and Clemens to show up who they are. Yeah, Kev. On a general roster building strategy, I agree on cutting Lawson. And I think he's going to be better than he was last year. But there's no way, to me, that you can have Lawson starting with guys like JJ, Huff, Clemens behind him when you don't have a starting center. You don't have solidified tackles. You don't have a starting safety. You don't have a starting linebacker. So you can take that $15 million of Lawson and just go defensively. For that money, you could sign Al Woods, Rodney McLeod, and Quan Alexander and still probably have money left over for just Lawson. To me, I'd rather fill those holes and be overly deep at defensive line. In a perfect world, you have all those guys, but that's not how it works. 21 mil this year. Let's see. I was referring to the Cavs. Tackle or offensive tackle, center, D tackle. This is we have to get. Yeah, those are absolute have to needs for me as well. Yeah, I'm sorry, Kev. I'm catching up. I'm only 20 minutes behind, so I keep dropping stuff. Joe, I assume that you saw both JSN and Flowers. For me, when I see Flowers, I see shades of Antonio Brown and Lockett with JSN. I don't know what I see with him. To me, like JSN, and this is not a direct one-for-one comparison, and I fucking hate one-for-one comparisons, but just the lack of like top end burner speed, but really smooth type of route runner. It's like a Keenan Allen type of player to me. I don't think he's as big as Keenan Allen, but that's kind of what I think of when I see JSN. But I could be with you, Eagle. Again, transparency. I could go watch Zay Flowers and be like, oh, I do like him better than JSN. JSN, I've just seen it in passing while watching Fields and watching Wilson and watching a little bit of Olave. And from what I saw, I would be fine with him at 13. No. Nathan Cosgrove, any QBs you like later in the draft? No. I just can't see the Jets having Rodgers trying to develop Wilson and then bringing in another developmental guy. It just doesn't make sense. Give me Chase Daniel over a late round QB. Now, if Wilson wasn't here, let's say if the Jets had a situation where it was I don't know. They let's just say they had Teddy Bridgewater. Zach Wilson didn't exist. They had Teddy Bridgewater, Aaron Rodgers. Then could you draft the guy? Okay, because Teddy Bridgewater could develop him, whatever. Aaron Rodgers doesn't have to worry about it. But having Rodgers and then 2 developmental guys in a Super Bowl year does not make sense to me. So if they drafted a guy in the second or in later rounds of quarterback, I would question their decision making. By the way, to Kev Chada, by the way, what do you think of Mavs Cuban tanking, smiling nervously when he almost doesn't win a game? Yeah, it seemed, I didn't really look into exactly what the punishment was, like the weak punishment you're talking about, Kev, but I could tell you it's like embarrassing to not really be competing for the playoffs. But that's the Kyrie Irving effect. Kyrie Irving goes there. They think they're going to make a push for the championship. He blows it up. They miss the playoffs, and now he's going to sign elsewhere in the offseason, and they just wasted trading Dorian Finney-Smith and Spencer Dinwiddie for nothing, for an absolute explosion, which you should expect with Kyrie. Wherever Kyrie goes, have fun with him because he's a fucking psychopath. Guy's crazy. The guy who he says he doesn't love attention, but everything he does says the exact opposite. He loves attention. He fucking loves it. I hate Kyrie. I hate him. Cowboys defense is better than ours. They're number 1 in the NFL, in my opinion. The Cowboys defense? Really? Why? Because of Parsons. What else do they have at corner? Who do they have at safety? Safety, corner, linebackers. Who do they have at linebacker right now? I would say Parsons, but I consider like a rush guy. Van Der Esch is always injured. They have Lawrence. Like they have like 3+ starters on defense I can think about. Right? Lawrence, Diggs, and Parsons. But who else do they have that's like stacked on that team? I don't know. I think we have probably the best cornerback duo in the NFL. We have at least a top 5 to 10 defensive line in the league. I don't see it, but I don't know. Kev Chada. Kev, I know you're a big, you're definitely a supporter of the channel, so I'm surprised you don't know this. Typically, it's Thursdays at 6. Sometimes we flex it to Wednesdays at 6. Today we're doing an afternoon stream, but typically it's Wednesday or Thursday at 6 o'clock. I'm sorry I don't have like a lockdown day. Now with me not working midnights, it might be a little bit easier to lock down a day, but usually it's Thursday at 6. I lived half my life in NYC, Jets X Factor, most life in Tampa Bay. So half NYC, half. So I'm surprised you don't hate the Giants. Maybe your years of being in Tampa has your hate for the Giants has dissipated. But let's see, DTR. Okay, I'm just trying to go through the chat. I'm a couple minutes behind now. Someone wants caught up. And maybe we'll do a mock draft. There's only 69 people in here, which is fine. If you guys want to do a mock draft, let's do a mock draft. If not. But the only problem with the mock draft is we have to have a couple things. I don't know what sites are good anymore to use mock drafts on. I don't know. I know last year we did PFN, so maybe let's do PFN again. I think they have a pretty easy interface. And then with that mock draft, do we assume Rodgers is gone for one of those picks? Do we keep those picks? Do we do 2 mock drafts? One with those picks and one with not? I don't know. It's up to you guys. If you guys want to do it, we do it. If not. But I know that the 60 something of people in here are dedicated. I appreciate all the chats and stuff. Hooker not really on my radar because he's a minimum 2nd round pick, but I could see someone trade up late 1st or a 5th year option. Yeah, for Hooker, I could see that as well, but not for the Jets. Matthias, if we had to go into the season with our wide receiver corp, I'm okay with it. We need to make sure the O-line and D-line have depth. Yeah, no, I agree. I said that before. I'm with you on that. I'd rather bring in McGovern and draft the center later round and be able to draft JSN than draft the center or safety early. From Steven, you'd rather bring in McGovern and draft the center later? Yeah, I'd rather bring in a center and like at the end of the day, let your 2nd round pick develop. There's nothing wrong with depth. I also want to fill holes at the same time. So like, I just think I don't want to be in a spot where you need to draft a center in the 2nd round, because listen, if they go into the draft and for whatever reason they strike out on a center and then they strike out on Ben Jones and McGovern, they're really fucked. So I would rather sign a McGovern or a Ben Jones pre-draft, and you go into the 2nd round, you're not forcing that need, because what if you go into the 2nd round without that center signed and you have, let's just say it's, I don't know, whatever center you like at 42, whatever D tackle you like at 42, and they're both, let's say an 8.5 out of 10 on the Jets board, but you need that center. So now you just lost on your D tackle. Shit, we lost on our D tackle. But if you sign McGovern pre-draft and you have 2 guys even at 43 at center and D tackle, you draft a D tackle because you had McGovern. I just don't want to pigeonhole myself into needing certain things, especially at center, or really any spot in the offense. So I'd rather sign a center and go into the draft with flexibility, because if they don't sign Ben Jones or McGovern again, they need a center in the first 2 rounds. Need one. So I agree. Bring in McGovern, bring in Ben Jones. Offense not pro ready and 30 by the time he might make an impact. Oh, we're talking about Hooker, right? Yeah. So you're the man, Joe. We missed your input. Glad to have you on. I appreciate you guys being here. I do. Again, I know a lot of people are working and we'll catch us later and stuff, but I definitely appreciate you guys being on here. Joey already overpaid for his brother. Q 23 mil is good enough. 9 mil for Quincy. Terrible. It's not 9 mil though, right? It's like 6.5 million per year. I do agree based on the other contracts that have came out for linebackers this year. You know, Kendrick's getting $7.5 million. I think Bobby Wagner got like 9. There was another guy who got 5. I think that Quincy Williams was slightly overpaid. He got paid 6 or 7. I think he's probably realistically more worth $4 or $5 million. So a slight overpay. You know, for Q 25, really anywhere between 23 and 26, I see it being. I would probably guess more in that 24 to 26 range if I had to bet on number 25 per year. Would you say a 0% chance JD picks Levis or AR? I don't think there's ever a 0% chance. I think it's foolish for anybody to say there's a 0% chance of anything in the draft. Kev, do I think there is a 1% chance or less? Yes, 1% chance or less. This is not the draft to be into drafting a quarterback. I'm not in love with anyone. Yeah, and the top guys always get elevated. Kev Chada, too much referee interference in the NBA. They're just so inconsistent, man. They're so inconsistent with their calls. I don't like the superstars in the NBA. I don't like the personalities. I don't like how it's structured. I don't like a lot of it. Trades, how you have to match contracts and all this shit. It's too much. Mikey Malls had to mute because of a work call. Last thing I heard was NHL playoffs were cool and Joe doesn't watch basketball as much anymore. Did I miss anything? Sorry. No. You didn't miss much. Austria. I went to Austria, but it was only I don't know what the town is called in Austria. Resi? I'll call you Resi. It was only to walk across that bridge. I don't know where it is. I don't know what the bridge is called, but it's right on the border of Germany and Austria. And it's like I don't know, like a 500-yard walking bridge that's like clear and see-through. So I was in Austria technically, just on the very edge of Austria for like 3 hours. But you got to walk up like a big ass like mountain or whatever hill, and then I walk across the bridge. So I was in Austria for a minute. Which, by the way, people don't understand about that region of the country, like Austria, Germany, all that stuff. Like the beer there is just so good. So good. Germany's beer selection and just beer scene in general blew Ireland out of the water. Sorry. The beer in Ireland, like there was like 5 or 6 beers, like Smithwick's, Guinness, whatever it is. And the Guinness in Ireland is so much. I cannot drink Guinness in the States anymore because of how much different it tastes. The actual beer in Ireland, like the Guinness beer in Ireland, there's not as much of that bitterness to it. When you actually get it, from the source in Ireland. But there's like the same like 5 or 6 beers in Ireland for the most part. Germany, every single place you went to, the beer list was yay big. Everything comes in a liter, which is like 2 beers in one. All the beer is just so good. So many options. It's just so good. So good. Loved it. I love the beer in Germany and Austria. A little else there. How about trading Bridges and RJ for RJ? No. You're a Knicks fan asking for that, right? I would never trade Bridges for RJ and a first-round pick. I think after the Bridges trade, wasn't it? There was some team out there rumored to be like wanting to trade like 4 first-round draft picks for Bridges. Dude, Bridges, he averaged like 30 points a game for the Nets. The 30 games he's played with them. Like Bridges, he's not a superstar, but he is making himself into like an NBA all-star type player. He's never going to be a 1. But I think with how Bridges is playing and how he's playing in the playoffs, I think Bridges could be a 2. And he's working himself into that. So Bridges for RJ? No, fuck no. No way. Stay with it. Appreciate it. I'm in Louisiana. So BRPD. All no. So far it's 22. I don't know. BR. Baton is like Baton Rouge PD. I don't know. Is Baton Rouge an actual place? I don't know. 22 weeks. I don't know how long mine was. I will glow myself up a little bit here. I did win the outstanding trainee award of the academy. So I was number 1 out of 100 people. So I have some tricks. Shoot well, be able to run, be able to do pull-ups, that stuff. So, but I have the award to prove it. So, get a little bit, pat myself on the back for that one. 75. Yeah, that's nothing. Mikey Malls. I don't like people saying every athlete is a diva. It's about them, not the game or the team winning. But Kyrie's 100% idiot. That just. Oh no. Yeah, I don't think there's people who definitely have too desensitized of a position on athletes because just shut up and dribble. I don't like that shit. But Kyrie brings a lot upon himself that he doesn't need to bring upon himself, like getting fans thrown out and answering people on Twitter and all this stuff. He's just a drama queen. He is. I hate Kyrie. I hate him. I vote mock draft. PFN or PFF are decent. The only thing I saw at PFF, doesn't PFF charge for something now? I don't have PFF, so if you have to have a membership, I can't do it. Or PFF mock draft database. I think you'll like this one. I'll do a little poll. I'll do a poll in like 2 seconds and see which one we'll do, and I'll do it real quick. I'm down for a mock draft. All right, cool. I haven't done a mock last year. This time, I think we did at least 5 or 6 mock drafts. This year, this is my first one. This is literally my one and only mock draft. I haven't done one yet. I don't know anything about the mock draft, so I will go into it completely bare. I have not done a mock draft. Nathan, I hate Kyrie too. Despite him being a key to the championship, hasn't been a good character guy since indirectly turned him to Mitchell. So yeah. Kev Trotta, by the way, will you be drunk after playing Madden this year live? That was a classic shot. I will be. Yeah, like I said, I have at least 4 or 5 of my buddies coming over, and we'll be watching the draft, drinking, doing whatever else, and so I will be banged up in some sort of fashion. Will I be playing Madden? I deleted Madden, so I don't have it on my Xbox. But am I going to say there's a 0% chance of me being a little bit intoxicated at 1:00 in the morning, challenging one of you guys to play me on Madden live? There's not a 0% chance. There's not a 0% chance. PFF over PFN for sure. Okay, interesting. Can you do a full 7-round mock draft with PFF though? That's one of my questions. Because I thought you couldn't. I thought I saw that somebody saying that on what is it called, on Twitter. Darren, hey Joe, would you be willing to give up 13 if no? Assuming the trade is 13 and 2-3. No, it's too much, Darren. It's too much. Because with Bakhtiari, the Packers need to include more to take on Bakhtiari than the Jets need to include more to take on Bakhtiari. Does that make sense? Yeah, the Packers need to give more for the Jets to take on that contract than the Jets need to give up more contract bring the Packers more than it would help us to get it, if you feel what I'm saying. So, no, if anything, the Jets should have to trade less to get Bakhtiari in that deal, to me, based on his contract and what I've seen from him in passing and film. So, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Like the most Jalen Carter sitting there in the second round because he's dumbass. We take him. Yeah, fuck that. Second round, okay, take the risk. 13 staying with the Jets, yeah. Penny Bridges around me, little Penny Hardaway. Interesting. I was a little bit young for Penny Hardaway. He retired in probably 20 or 2002 or 3, right? When did Penny Hardaway retire? Let's see. Penny Hardaway retire. 2007. Okay, but how long was he? How long was he relevant? Into early 2000s. I don't know, but even 2007, I was 13, 14. So I remember some of him, but not really. He was on the Magic for a lot of years. The Magic player who I remember, who I really liked when he was on the team in the early 2000s. I loved Stevie Francis when he was on the Magic for all those years. The Magic were really shitty during those years, but I liked him. And who was with him? Was it JJ Nelson? Is it JJ Nelson? Is that who I'm thinking about, or is it a different guy? He's like a light skinned dude, tattoos, point guard. Is it Nelson? No. Augustine? Was that DJ Augustine, or was he with the Bobcats and shit? Was that the Magic too? DJ Augustine. I forget. Somebody will know in here. But yeah, I don't know. I lived in the Penny era in Orlando. KD, don't they do driving maneuverability test in the academy? My buddy got the best driver or something close to that. Yeah, you have to drive through cones and shit. But it's funny, really quick, funny story about that. They have you have to do a driving course, and you have to do chases and all that stuff, mock chases. And my friend won the award. He's actually my buddy to this day. He won the award for the driving safety award winner, whatever. But it was all based on the test. So whoever got the highest scores on the test, the written test I think there's like 2 or 3 of them, got the award. He was the only kid in the entire academy to crash a car. So he had about 100 people. The one kid who crashed a car got the award for driving safety because of the written test. So it's just like funny, like, of course, the one kid who crashes get the award. So I don't know how it was with his academy, but yeah. Joby, you a cop now? Wow, I've missed too much. Yeah, cop now, dude. I've been one for full time for like 3 years, and I've been like a special, like carrying and all that stuff, and driving a car for like 5-6 years of my life. So yeah, it's been a while. Kev, I feel like you listen to almost every single show, but you don't at the same time. I don't know, Kev. You're the mystery man to me. I know you're a big supporter, but then you don't know a lot of stuff at the same time. But yeah, I've been. I don't like to put that out there, but it is what it is. Like I'm sure there's people who hate it, whatever. Yeah, Baton Rouge, home of the LSU Tigers. I'm the only Jets fan. Here, I wonder how big that city is. You're gonna be working more of a city. I'm more like municipal than city. But yeah, didn't you just restructure? Joby, you got to make that shirt with that slogan. Never say 0% chance. Girls would always love that. Never say 0% chance, girl. I am so glad. I just said this to my grandpa the other day. I'm so glad I'm added like the dating scene and shit. Like even at 30 years old, obviously it'd be harder for me now than when I was 20s to move on anything of value. I feel like anything past like 25, 26, all the good stuff is taken. But I can't do the dating scene, the fucking Snapchat and Instagram and likes and who you not liking and TikToks and people fucking making these fake accounts. Like I've seen so many things in my career of people getting like some fucking poor innocent kid's dick pic through faking themselves, being a fake girl on what's this shit you swipe left and right on? I don't fucking I'm literally so far out of that. I know it, but I forget. It's like, there's Bumble, there's Grindr for certain people. There's what's the really popular one? Fuck. No, it's not. I was about to say Tinder. Is it Tinder? Whatever that's called. Whatever the fuck that's called. I can't do that shit. Send a pic and then it's out there and then people, hey, I got a picture of your penis. Send me $4,000. I'm gonna send it to everybody in your contacts. Hopefully you're hung and you're like, okay, send it to everybody. Fuck it, who cares? But if you're not, and you got a little micro penis, then you might be dishing out $3,000. I can't do all that shit. Fuck that. I'm happy. I'm wifed up. Have a good life. Jameer Nelson, and yeah, DJ. Oh, yeah, 2 names. Good. You guys are right. Tender. Yeah, okay, it is. I'm married to the New York Jets. Haha, yeah. I appreciate you guys. Okay, so let's see. 30 years. Eagle, are you 30 years old? Or have you been a Jets fan for 30 years? I'm curious. But let me see. I'm gonna put out a quick poll really quick for the 2 things. How are you with giving speeding tickets? Joy Brummer. I am the least. How do I say this out? Like make myself seem like a lazy asshole. I am not a stickler at all. I do not write people tickets for shit I don't do. I am not the guy to see somebody roll a stop sign slightly, pull them over, and give them a ticket. I am not the guy to see somebody going 55 or 60 and a 45 and then pull them over, and then I'm off duty going 60 and a 45. If you're going like town Highway 45. If you're going 65 or over, so you're going 20 miles per hour over the speed limit, I will pull you over for the most part. Now, depending on how your history is, if your history is speeding ticket, you're probably getting a ticket because clearly you haven't learned your lesson. Now, if you don't have a history, you're probably not getting one. Now, if they pull you over, you're an asshole. Fuck you. You pulled me over because of this reason. Oh, you're an asshole. Only roll the window down this much. You're going to be a dickhead about it. I can play fuck games. I'll be a dickhead too. If you're going to be cool with me, I'm going to be cool with you. I don't write people tickets for shit I don't do. So I'm not going to write you a ticket for going over the speed limit a little bit. I'm not going to write you a ticket for rolling a stop sign. I'm not going to write you a ticket for making a right-hand turn on the highway at 4:00 in the morning when there's nobody there. Now I might stop you and see what you're about, but I'm not going to write you a ticket. I am not an asshole. I am too passive, which is not necessarily always great for young guys, but I'm not a dickhead at all. If you're reasonable with me, we're cool. So at 26, I don't care. I ain't about a lot of social media or dating sites. Yeah, it sucks, man. I'm curious how the dating scene is out there at 26 years old. Like what it's like. If we have a jet sticker, we're good, right? Yeah, maybe good. If I pull you over, go, I listen to the show. I'm awesome, cool. Adios. I'm drunk. Are you sure? Yeah, get out of here. You're hammered. Can you drive home? Yeah, maybe. I only had a 5th of vodka. All right, fuck. You'll survive. Okay, let's see. Yeah, but I'm not a dick. I'll never be that guy. I'm the exact opposite of that. Even with arresting people, like you're hammered. I get it. I was an asshole 25-year-old. Like I'm not gonna. I'll drive you home before I arrest you. Let's see. How do I do it? How do I do a poll in here? Live chat. Oh shit! I gotta do it on my computer. Okay, give me 2 seconds. I think okay. All right, chat. So our first one: engage your audience, start a poll, draft site. All right, so we're gonna do PFN or PF. Okay, PFN. We got PFF, and we have what did Eagle say? Mock draft database, right? Is that what it's called? I could be wrong. Okay, I'm gonna give you like 2 seconds on this one. We're gonna do that, and then we're gonna do Rodgers. Is he traded for? Is he traded for in that or not? So let's see. Let's see what you guys are saying about that. If Joe's ever pulls me out, I'd fuck with him and tell him who I am. Listen to this, Mike. Though you could fuck with me, but I could fuck with you more. So, what kind of games do you want to play? We can play some games, Mikey. Oh, the computer's running slow. Oh, and I got to hold you for half an hour. Warrant checks. I want to search the car. I want to pull you out of the car. But I don't want to get into the whole thing. If you're respectful, I'll be respectful. If you're gonna be a dickhead, why'd you pull me over? You pulled me over because of this reason. No, I pull you over because you're going 85 and a 45. Maybe that's why. But yeah, I don't play. If you're not playing games with me, I don't play games with you. That's really how it is. We're all human, right? So let's see. Any votes in here? we have 2 votes. We have 2 votes. We are killing it. We are killing it on the afternoon stream. 2 votes. We are really, really. I guess I should wait at least for 10 votes, right? Have you dealt with street lawyers when you pull over people, like people that are lawyers? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Listen, like at the end of the day, I know my stuff, and like you could tell me you don't need to give me your license. You don't need to do this. At the end of the day, you do. You do. If I stop you, you need to identify yourself. If you don't identify yourself, I don't want to do this, but I'm going to break your window. I'm going to pull you out of the car. I'm going to arrest you. Do we want that to happen? No, we do not. I'm going to give you 2-3 warnings. I'm going to remind you 2 or 3 times very calmly. If you're not providing me your identification, I'm going to have to arrest you. Going once, going twice, going 3 times, sold. Okay, we're doing what we're doing. So yeah, I've dealt with those people. I've also dealt with you're gonna get sued all the time, whatever. I've dealt with, my friend's a lawyer. You're so fucked when he gets here. The friend comes, arrest the guy for DWI, obviously a traffic offense. The friend gets there and he is a real estate lawyer. It's like, a real estate lawyer. He's gonna get you out of a lot of trouble. And I asked the real estate lawyer, hey, and this is in front of his friend on purpose, just because his friend was being a dick. I'm like, hey, you know about John's law, right? Do I have to explain John's law to you about the car? And he's like, yeah. No, just explain it to me real quick. I'm like, so you need me to explain you the law? Okay, hold on. So I got you. I accidentally voted for PFN. Chad is sleeping. It's okay. Accidentally voted. Who do you want to vote for? Mikey Moss. Any funny car stuff? I have plenty of stories, dude. I have dealt with some nasty shit ever. I've seen people actively diarrheaing their pants. I've dealt with dead bodies that have been in the house for a month. I've been on crazy car stops. We've had a crazy lady try to steal an ambulance once. It was actually in the ambulance. We had to stop. We've had a bunch of shit. Has a chick ever shown you her boobie? No, that does not happen. There have been people who have tried, but you're on body cam. That wouldn't work. Watch Joe Blewett pulls over Aaron Rodgers. Let's see his job and book him. Mock draft database. Wow, cop. I feel like I don't. I'm very, very chill. I'm chill. I'm chill. Okay, let's see the chat. Let's see the vote, and let's go with that. If I have at least 10 votes, 9 votes. PFN. Okay, it's PFN. Fuck it, whatever. I have to do another poll, and now we're already waiting. I'm gonna do another one for start a poll. Trade for trade. Is it 42 or 43? Whatever the second round pick is, that's what I mean. I'm gonna say trade 43 for Rodgers. Do we want to assume Rodgers is traded for or not traded for in this mock draft? Okay, what else we got in here? While I wait, what did I miss, Joe? Here we go. Joe's a cop. Yeah, I am. And I am willing. I would never do it. I would never do it on social media. I would never do it on here. I would never do it in a situation where I thought, just because like people are so fucked up nowadays. Like I can see somebody like having a conversation with me in real life and like recording me in their pocket and then cutting it and going out on social media and stuff. But like I am willing to discuss and talk about a lot of things about police problems that I know are out there. Problems. There's a lot of stuff that I can have conversations with you guys about from my point of view, being in it. But I would never do that online. Never online. It would just never happen. It would never happen. But for the most part, like people hate body cams and shit. I love body cams because if I don't fuck up, that thing is attached to me. And if I don't do it, if I don't do anything wrong, which I don't, I'm not gonna get in trouble. Like there's people who are out there like, oh, the cop raped me. It's like I had a body cam on the entire time. I didn't. No, I didn't. I definitely didn't. So here's the body cam. It's perfect. So I like body cams because I'm not an asshole. So how often do you ask people for PBA cards? I don't ask for PBA cards. If I pull somebody over and they give me a PBA card, that's what you're supposed to do. I would say for people who ask about that stuff, we're getting a whole different thing here. The best way to hand anything like that to a cop is just to put it under your license. Like you don't have to mention it. I hate when people are dickheads about it because like gold cards are pretty much like get out of jail free cards. Are not supposed to be, but they are. Like you hand me a gold card, you have to be doing something really fucked up. But I hate the people who like just hand it, like don't even look at you. Like, oh, here, gold card. It's like, okay, so you're an asshole. And you call the person on gold card, tell them they're an asshole, whatever. But the best way is just to put it with your license. And the chances of you getting written with the PBA card is very, very minimal. You have to be something really stupid. It depends. It all depends. But I don't ask people, hey, I'm stopping you. Can I have your documents? Do you have a PBA card? It's like, no, that's your responsibility to provide to me. I mean to your friends. Yeah. PBA cards. I've given out a couple. Gold cards are different. They're the actual like gold plated ones that are more expensive and you have to pay for and stuff. I've only given a few of those out, like immediate family, like my best buddies. But PBA cards, yeah, that's like more like, oh, my second cousin needs a PBA card. Okay, here. Katie, I don't know if it's a hot take, but I don't think Rodgers deserves a second round pick. I don't think it's the hottest take in the world. I think the second round pick is what makes it get done. I think the part of that argument for Rodgers being worth a second round pick also comes into the contract. Like in a vacuum, is he worth a second round pick on your roster to be on your roster this year? Yes, but considering the contract and the dead money and all that stuff, can you make an argument that he's not necessarily worth a second round pick because of that? Sure. But you're going to give up a second round pick. Some cops say you just hand over the PBA card, and some say to let you know you're giving it to them. I heard both. I suggest telling them just in case. Yeah, personal experience for me. If you're handing me your license, I'm going to know there's another thing under there. Unless you're dealing with a complete fucking buffoon who's not going to feel there's two documents there. You give it under the license, and then it's just there. Like, who's not going to be able to feel that? Like, you go into the car, you have to run the license. You have to manipulate it with your hands and touch it and stuff. You're not going to be like, you're holding it like you have a fucking oven mitt on. Like, oh, you're going to feel there's a card behind there. So yeah, technically, just in case. The chance there's almost a 0% chance that the guy's not going to know that the card's there. So whatever. Let's see what the vote is. Yes. Okay. Trade. Okay. So let me pull this up real quick. We're going to PFN. I'm sorry for the people who wanted anything else, but that won the vote. PFN mock draft simulator. Mock draft simulator with free trades. Okay. Hold on. Okay. Mock draft simulator with free trades. Let me pull this up. Make sure I'm doing this right. StreamYard, share. Sorry, let me do this. Yeah, no. The cop stuff. Yeah, I don't like to put that out there because like you're gonna have I don't know, maybe it's a smaller number than I realize. Maybe it's like 1 in every 5 people who just gonna be like, oh, you're an asshole and fuck you. Pigs in a blanket. All cops are bastards. I get it. I'm an asshole, I guess. And those people are gonna hate it, and that's why I don't necessarily like to put it out there, but whatever. If you assume I'm an asshole just because of my profession, then fuck you. Like, I don't want you to listen to me anyway, right? So that's cool. Last end of the day, if I get pulled over by Joe and you have a jet sticker in your car, I'm okay with you. You okay with being a? Yeah. No, we can't take bribes. I mean, this dickhead LI cop yelled at me, my father on the phone once for not telling me to. Yeah, you're gonna deal with douches, dude. Like, there's douches who are garbage men. There are douches who are judges. There are douches who are doctors. There are douches who are anything. Now, obviously, get exemplified because of the power you have. But there's gonna be douches in everything, and obviously, those are the guys who are highlighted on social media. The problem with social media is, I'm not getting into the weeds in this shit. I'm really not doing it. a lot more of the videos that you see are edited or you don't have the information, right? So like, I really don't want to get into this. I'm going to do it really, really quick. I pull over Kev Chada, right? Kev Chada. Yeah, I pull over Kev Chada. When I'm pulling over Kev Chada, or I'm running his plate, let's say, it's 3:00 in the morning in a shitty neighborhood. I run Kev Chada's license plate. Kev Chada's license plate tells me that Kev Chada is wanted for aggravated assault on a police officer, right? So I pull him over, or no, let's say Kev Chada has a stolen car. He has a stolen car. So when we pull you over, I'm pulling you over. I see in my system that you dictate a felony stop. A felony stop is me getting out of the car, gunpoint, Kev Chada, roll down your window, Kev Chada, drop your license, drop your keys out of the window, Kev Chada, get out of the car with your hands up, Kev Chada, back up to the sound of my voice, Kev Chada, get on your knees. So social media sees, oh, Kev Chada stopped for running a red light, but pulled out at gunpoint. Doesn't make sense. From my point of view, Kev Chada wanted for assaulting a police officer or a stolen car. I have to felony stop him, but you guys don't have the information that I have, or people will cut a video. Kev Chada stopped for running a red light, got beat up, and you see the portion of the video where he's getting beat up. But in reality, what really happened was I pulled over Kev Chada for running a red light. Kev Chada then proceeded to get out of the car and run from me. So yeah, I chased him and might have punched him. But you need to have all that information. So I'm just telling you to be careful about the way you're taking in the information, because a lot of videos are cut. A lot of videos you don't have the information for. Again, Kev Chada can punch me in the face. Video starts, boom, he just punched me in the face, and you're getting the after effect. If he punched me in the face, guess what I'm going to do to Kev Chada? I'm going to punch him in the face. But you only get, cop punch Kev Chada for not stopping at a red light. Like, that's not what happened. So I don't want to get into all of it. Like, that's the shit that bothers me when I see videos and, oh, fuck that guy. You don't have all the information. You don't. Only a couple of times. Only a couple of times. Mikey Malls, if Joe ever pulls somebody over and they say, if you want to be the next cop on you, I'm fine with it, dude, because like I have my video. I know I'm in the right. So yeah. Will you pull me over for Eagle? Why you pull me over if Eagle? Because Eagle listens to every show and he knows my profession. You've been absent. I've never had my name mentioned in one show. Okay, let's go. I'm sorry. I know there's probably like 2 or 3 people out there going to comment on that shit after me. Like, oh, fuck you. ACAB, all cops are bastards. I'm not listening to their show. Okay. I'm not getting into anything too crazy. I'm just saying be careful about the information you're presented. I don't know. I'm sorry. Sorry for getting a little rant about that. Share screen. Window. Chrome tab. NFL mock draft simulator. Okay, here we go. Oh, look at that. And a commercial. Jennifer Lopez, should we just keep watching? All right. I can't click out for some reason. No. All right. So we have the, hopefully I don't fuck anything up. Oh, I clicked on a cat video. I'm sorry. Let me exit out of that. You guys can see this, right? Hold on, let me check my YouTube. Can you guys see this? Sorry. Okay, you guys can see. All right, so we go 7 rounds. Did we do normal or fast? Let's just do fast. Let's just do fast. Yeah, let's do fast for the later rounds. We are the Jets. We are. I almost want to do normal though, just so I can see the picks. But screw it, right? Jets. All right. Let's see how it plays out. Okay. Hold on. Okay. Hold on. Click out of that. All right, so in this scenario, we got a shitty hand a little bit. So we have Paris gone, Jones gone, Addison. So we still have. It's actually not a bad situation realistically. So we got Jackson Smith-Njigba and Skronski still on the board. That is a pretty ideal situation for the Jets. And then you also, I didn't see Darnell Wright go. Where is he in this thing? Oh, Darnell Wright's in the 30. Okay, I don't like using mock draft simulators and like trying to manipulate how they have the rankings, because let's say I really don't think Darnell Washington is going to be there in the second round for the Jets pick, but I know he's 40th in the rankings, so I'm going to take advantage of their ranking system and draft him earlier. I don't want to do anything like that, so I'm going to try to make it as realistic as possible. And I don't know if you guys want me to do it like, is this the Jets' point of view? Is this what they should do? Is this what I would do? I don't really know. I'm kind of just going to roll with it. In this situation, based on how I'm thinking, okay, and I don't know how you guys are thinking. Let me pull up the YouTube so I can kind of, or on my phone, so I can kind of see where you guys are thinking with this one. Let's see. Yeah, I see. So I see some PFN ranking stuff and all that stuff. And the thing is, with the trade back here, like that's a good trade package. Like you're getting a second round pick and a third round pick to move back. If you like Skronski and you like Wright, are you willing to go down? Are you willing to go down? I think there's a possibility, but then what if you go down and Jackson Smith's gone, Skronski's gone, and what's his name is gone? So I would be, to me, as a Jets fan right now, I would be more willing to take this trade. I don't know if you guys are willing to take this just to move back one spot, but you're moving up from 112, a fourth round pick to a mid second round pick just for one pick. I would do that swap 1,000%. Now, is this trade realistic? To me, I would do this. If you guys want to do this, I will do this. I don't think it's very realistic. I don't know who the Patriots are trading up for one pick that they really, really need at this point on their team. But with that being said, even if it is Skronski or Darnell right here, I'm okay with the other. So I would be willing to take the risk that they take the one that we like a little bit more and gain that second round pick, or a third that turns into a second, whatever we want to say this is. So I would take that. I don't know what you guys would take. If you guys want to take this trade just to get that pick, I will do it. If you don't think it's realistic, then say no. Just give me a couple. Give me like the first one with like 2 yeses or 2 nos gets the answer here. For the trade back with the Pats. To me, I'm not going back with the Giants this far. Sounds great and all that stuff, but if I do that, Skronski, Wright, and JSN are gone. I think they really shot themselves in the foot there, so I'm going to reject that one personally. That's a decision for me. Trade back with the Pats, yes. Draft your boy. I'm not sure what your boy is for this. Okay, so I got 2 yeses for that trade, so I'm going to do accept the trades for the Pats. Okay, so now we have pick 14. And they drafted Jackson Smith and Jigba. So they knew we wanted him, or they had a feeling that we wanted him. We played him because fuck you guys. We really wanted to tackle. It is what it is. And now we just got an extra pick. Again, I'm not trading back this far because I want 2 guys right now, and I'm not willing to go back 11 picks. Adoree Jackson, no, rejecting. Do I want to trade back with these guys? 22, 86, and 2024 second. I don't want to do future picks because I want to get the picks this year. I don't think this would be the worst case scenario in the world, but again, even in real life, to me, this scenario, a second and a third to move back 8 picks is not the worst idea in a vacuum. But the problem is, again, you have 2 starting level guys right now. Like, to me, it's Skronski or right here. Are you moving back, 8 spots and not having those guys there when you already gained an extra, or a trade up from a third to a mid second round pick? I don't do this trade. I don't know if you guys do. We'll ask. I don't think this is realistic. I'm sorry. I don't even think moving back. What's the value of a 20 spot move back? That has to be almost like a first round pick. Is Buda Baker worth that trade back? I don't think so. I don't think the Jets do it. I don't think that's realistic anyway. I don't think it's gonna happen. So I'm gonna decline that. If you guys want to do this trade, I will do it. I wouldn't personally do it. Again, as the Jets or me, because if you lose out on Skronski and Wright, really shitty spot here, especially in a year where you are trying to compete. I don't know if moving down for future picks is the best idea. If you guys want to take this trade, I will. Give me a few yeses or nos in the chat. I'm leaning more towards no, but I'll do what you guys want. I don't think this because like at this point, I want to keep it realistic. Because who are the Ravens trading up for at this point? Let's look at the board. They're trading up for Will Levis. I guess I can see it, but they're going to have Lamar. You're going to pay Lamar $50 million a year and then trade up for Will Levis? Yeah, no. Okay, all you guys are saying no. Okay. So now we're in a situation where, let's be realistic. It's Skronski. Maybe if you're Eagle, I think Eagle likes Johnson, right? Or you're saying you don't like Johnson. No, you like Safe Flowers. I'm sorry. I don't want to put words in your mouth. But right now it's Skronski or I could see Cansey. I could see an argument for anybody who wants Cansey. I could see an argument for Wright either. To me and to the Jets at this point, you're keeping Corey Davis, or if a second round guy falls to you, okay, maybe you like him and you get rid of Corey Davis. I wouldn't necessarily recommend that, but it's Wright or Skronski. I'm taking Skronski. Let's see what you guys want. Skronski. You said Peter and Flowers. Okay, so I got 3 Skronskis in a row. That's what I would do anyway, so I think I'll probably override you guys at this point anyway. I think I don't think Skronski has the highest ceiling in the world, but again, I think a solid double here with a single of a floor is a fine pick. I'm completely fine with Skronski. Hader Ali, sorry. Have you heard the late Rodgers rumor? Titans just came out. No, don't buy it. Rodgers is not going to Tennessee to play with a decimated roster and Traylon Burks as a receiver one. It's just not happening. I guarantee that's not happening. So it's complete bullshit. So we have Skronski going to the Jets at 14. Cool. Let's do that. I don't know. Darnell Wright just went. That's not going to happen, though. That's not going to happen. I'm not going to look at the trade. Let's just see who went in this little patch here. Who would have been like some good picks for us. Brian Breesy. Okay. Branch could have been an option. Johnson could have been an option. Simpson could have been an option. Hyatt could have been an option. Cansey went. Okay. Marvin Mims, Drew Sanders, Zay Flowers, Eagles boy, Josh Downs, done all right. Okay. So, the only problem is with this is let's make this pick and let's trade 43 to the Packers. I don't know if I can force their trade, though. That's the only problem. So at this point, who are we looking at? Oh, I know who we're looking at. I already know. All right. So at this point, we'd assume that the Jets are looking at, and me personally, I would be looking at one of, it depends on the rankings. You have Mozzie Smith, you have JMS, you have Jack Campbell, you have Tippmann, you have Steve Avila. So it'd be one of those guys to me. You have center guard, you have center, you have linebacker, you have center, Tillman, okay, receiver option, I get it. To me right now, it's JMS. And if the Jets go into the draft and this scenario happens, right, where you have your tackle, you have JMS in the second round, you're probably not going to sign that Ben Jones type player, that McGovern type player. I can maybe make an argument that you do regardless. But at this point, getting that D tackle is a massive need in free agency. You have to get an Al Woods. Now, we have a pick at 46. So maybe, Mozzie Smith is there, and then we really made out with that trade. But let's see, 42 trade down to 50s and get a third or a fourth. Okay, let's see what the trades are. Let's see if you guys are interested in any of the trades. I would do this. Like if let's say this really came up, I would do this because Derek Brown. Yeah, is he worth a second and a I realistically, if this really happened, I would probably do this. But we're not going to do this right now. We're not going to do that right now. And then we're not going to do that. I'm sorry. No Green Bay. Okay, so who are we taking? I know. I saw you, Jordan Victor. Yes, Carolina trade. I just don't think that's realistic. Like if they're rebuilding and all this stuff, and they're gonna trade away one of their star players, I don't see it. I would do it realistically too, Jordan Victor. I just don't see that happening. So we're gonna cancel out that trade. We already did one trade. I don't want to get too trade happy and make this really unrealistic. So I'm gonna go JMS. Let me know if you guys have any disagreements in the chat. But that's what I would do at this point. Where if I was a Jets and getting Skronski and JMS, like holy shit. Obviously, now your receiving core is not ideal, I would say. I think it's still decent, but I would have loved to get JMS, Jackson Smith and Najigba. So we have JS and JMS. That fucks me up. Okay, let's see. I'm not seeing anything in there for the JMS. JMS, yes or no? Going once, going twice. We have JMS. Okay, JMS. We have at least three times. So JMS. Okay. Now, this one we don't have, right? So do I just... do you guys know how to say like this again? Holy shit! No, Derek Brown. That's how we address. That's how we address it. Address D tackle, but is JSM our top center for us? Kev Trotta, I don't really know. Honestly, I could watch Steve Avila or Tippmann or whatever his name is and like them more. But as of right now, JMS is the top guy. But that's from a very I need to do a lot more work to like really tell you 100%. I don't think these trades are realistic, so we're not going to do them. And we have to trade this pick anyway. So the only thing is, are the Packers going to accept it, right? Because I don't want to be – does it really matter, though? Because we're not going to see these picks anyway. Realistically, next year, second, we're keeping Corey Davis. Let's give him Denver's fourth, a second, a 4, and then a conditional pick, whatever it may be. Who cares, right? Because we're not going to make the picks. Let's just get Rod – oh, sorry. Second and a 4th for Rodgers. Are they going to accept it? No. What you guys do this shit all the time. What's the minimum it takes to, it doesn't really matter though, right? So we can go like this, fuck it, right? Let's watch. 43, We're going to trade a first, Becton, a second, a third, a fourth, a sixth for Rodgers. That's the trade. Does it work? Cool. Nobody's going to be mad at that trade, right? Right? We're all fine. A first, a second. We give him a first, a second, a third, a fourth, a fifth, a sixth, a seventh, and we got Rodgers. Okay, so now we resume. Oh, so we made out well here, fellas. I'm not trading back because at this point in the draft, you filled tackle, you filled center, you have a big need for D tackle, and there's a D tackle there. Now, I'm not sure how each of you guys individually feels about this guy, and I'm not sure who the fuck Ian Cummings is who wrote this report, so I have no idea if I should believe this, but 6'3", 337. Okay, so my question here is, does he fit our scheme? I'm not sure. Massive, athletic, let's see, freaks list, 33-inch vertical. Okay, so he's pretty explosive too. So he's not just a run stuffer. 6'9", 5. That's pretty impressive for the recon. 22 reps, bench press. Come on. The weight is using. Okay, I don't know what that means and all that shit, but let's see. What are you guys thinking about? Because right now, I would definitely take Mozzie Smith. I think there's a conversation for Jack Campbell in here. I think Jack Campbell's definitely an option, but for me right now on the Jets team, the D tackle is a bigger need. So I saw from the Kev Trotta X's house safety. Let's see. Antonio Johnson, Sidney Brown, Jordan Battle. These are guys who are projected a little bit lower. And obviously I don't want to just take advantage of their rankings, but you're telling me right now that Mozzie Smith is there. For right now, I think realistically, I want to give you guys some say. Mozzie Smith or Jack Campbell. You guys tell me. If it's not, the thing with D tackle is, I think it's harder to fill in the offseason. Like let's say, you know, they get Mozzie Smith, they miss out on Jack Campbell or any other linebackers later in the draft. You could sign a Quan back for $2-3 million, you know, in a month from now, and then we'd be happy there. I don't know who you're signing at D tackle right now. Would you be legitimately happy with them as a starter? Like even I'll be happy with Al Woods, but I'd be a lot more happy with Mozzie Smith, right? So Nathan Cosgrove says take him. Chris Turner says take him. We have KD and Steve say Campbell. Both have Campbell. 2v2. I'll be the tiebreaker, guys. I'm taking Mozzie. I think linebacker is easier to fill than D tackle in today's world. In today's world. So the only problem is I don't think we really have a lot of picks after this, right? That might be like our draft. Okay. How many more picks do we have? Oh, we only have 2 picks, fellas. So, okay. So right now, tackle, center, both filled. D tackle filled. So the biggest holes on the Jets roster right now for me is linebacker, safety, and I would say wide receiver 5. You can make an argument for running back right here. At this pick, I would say safety, linebacker, receiver, right? I don't know if you guys think the same. Linebacker, safety, receiver. Is there anybody you guys like here who you would take at this pick? And this is obviously, again, very, very, you know, I don't have a very good understanding of guys in the 5th round who are available at this point. So there could be some guys who I'm missing here, but seeing a safety, developmental guy, is he going to compete with Tony Adams as your starting free safety potentially? You know, a backup guy. I'm not sure. You guys like Rashad Torrance? I don't know who that is. Jared Patterson's a guy who people told me lock for a 2nd round pick last year. Now he's in the 5th round in this one. So, you know, this goes to show you how volatile this stuff is and how much people can move up and down. To me right now, I would take this safety. Who is there in offense? Let's see, receivers. You guys like any of these guys? Charles Jones, Demario Douglas, Andre Lozivas, Rakeem Jarrett, Ronnie Bell. I don't know. Is there any good linebackers that you guys like? Shaka Hayward, Cam Jones, Anfree Orgy. Is his name really Orgy? All right. Coming from a Blewett, but his name is Orgy. So maybe we have to draft him in the later rounds from Vanderbilt. Okay, let's see. Who do you guys want? Who do you guys want? Luke from Michigan. I like Dean. Ronnie Bell. I like a lot. Orgy. Okay, so I'm just gonna do it because I don't really know. I see a couple Deans in here. I saw at least one Dean hand free if he's a Jet. I'm doing safety. I'm doing safety. Fuck it, right at this point. And then later in the draft at this point, I don't think you're gonna get a starter. So you probably draft BPA. And if it's not BPA, maybe a running back at this point. Like I think you can get a random running back to compete at this point and see if he would be a like a breakout candidate. If he doesn't make it, then he's a 6th-round pick who you cut, and Ty Johnson's your guy. If not, he takes over for Ty Johnson. Who gives a shit? But like, I'm not thinking quarterback. I'm sorry. I know people are gonna say Max Duggan out there. I almost guarantee there's somebody in the chat who's gonna say that. I'm not doing it. I'm not thinking developmental guy. We have another safety. We have linebacker, developmental linebacker. If you guys want to take him, developmental linebacker. We got some running backs here. If you guys want to let them compete with what's his name? How is he? Oh, RAS 9.57. That's cool. Or 5.7, right? You guys want Max Duggan. This is where I take the tall wide receiver and tell him he's converting the free safety. Origin number 69 is a Jet. I haven't done one mock draft this year because of Rodgers' uncertainty. Yeah, no, Kev, this is legitimately my first one. So I'm just saying, who cares at this point, realistically? You know, I know people are like, oh my God, I can't believe you took Jordan Hicks over Cam Hayward or Shaka Hayward right here. I'm taking Shaka Hayward. Fuck it. Whatever. So if this were to be how the draft played out, we're keeping Corey Davis in this situation. We traded for Aaron Rodgers. So our starting offense, we added the tackle, the center. The only thing I don't like about this draft, and in general, I'm getting an ad in my ear right now. Hold on. Okay, sorry. Is it this ad?
Every time.
Okay. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but that ad is playing in my ear right now. I don't know how to close it though. So if this is our draft, how would we feel? The only problem is we only have 5 picks. I think we went from 5 to 7. Or we went from 6 to 5, so it is a very small draft class. But if we had Skronski, Laken Tomlinson, JMS, AVT, or no, sorry. It would be Brown or Becton, Tomlinson, JMS, AVT, and Skronski and Mitchell at right tackle. Are we happy with that? And then you have the receivers, or receiver core stays the same as it is now. Our defense now has Mozzie Smith and Quinnen Williams as your starters, with Jefferson as a backup, and obviously Solomon Thomas. I would say in this scenario, ideally, the Jets are to re-sign Quan. So you re-sign Quan in this situation, and maybe you let Dean compete for a little bit in the offseason, OTAs, whatever it is. If you don't like what you're seeing from him early on, you sign him McLeod. But at the end of the day, if your biggest holes in your team are safety and linebacker, it is what it is. But I still think you can address that. So are we happy with the top 3? That's basically what this draft is, of Skronski, Schmitz, and Mozzie Smith. Give me a yes or a no. I'll be happy with this. If this is how it would turn out, I would sign up for this every single day. Have had other ways, but B, okay, I'm cool with it. C plus, B plus, okay, B plus, C plus, B. I heard a Pornhub ad. I don't use Pornhub, so it's definitely not that one. Top 2, yes, and third, no. I'm not sure what it is. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Ideal draft. Okay, cool. I would do this too. And again, in this scenario, you're signing Quan back and you're signing McLeod, right? Like, compete with the safety, all that bullshit, whatever. Sign McLeod for $2 million. Screw it. So McLeod at safety, Quan at linebacker, Mozzie Smith fills the D tackle role, JMS fills the center hole, Skronski fills the tackle. And then the other bigger need right now in that scenario is, who is your receiver 5? If Lazard goes down or Davis goes down, and you have Hardman as your starting guy for a couple of weeks, not ideal. So I'd really like to see. I don't even know who would be as the 5th receiver. There's not a lot out there, and I'm not willing to spend like $10 million on DJ Chark or something like that. But it has to be somebody there. I'm not comfortable with Mims as a 5. I'm sorry for the Mims fans out there, but yeah. That's the mock draft. Let's see. Remove. Okay, cool. Let's see if there's anything else on here. Any other questions, anything like that you guys want to throw out really, really quick? I'll do that. I've been on for about 3 hours with you guys, and I appreciate the few who jumped in here for a crazy afternoon stream, but it is what it is. Ideal draft. Mozzie smells like a bust. We'll see. I could pick Mozzie now and say I'd be happy with him at 43. Go back and be like, he's a fucking 4th round pick, dude. What are we doing here? A, B, okay, B minus. We didn't rip off the Pats enough. I'm sorry. It was their projected trade. Cobb we're going to get. Chris Phillips, can we trade a 13 and 42 for Rodgers and Bakhtiari in a second next year? Mental gymnastics. You're making me do gymnastics on this one. Hold on. 13 and 42. Well, why are we trading 42? And it's the 42 kind of wipes out the seconds. You're trading 13 for Rodgers. No, it's still too much. Bakhtiari in a trade is a negative, not a positive. Now, if he plays and he's healthy, great. But right off the jump, depending on how much he renegotiates his contract, I am not doing that. I'm not doing that. Eagle Fang, all right, I have to take off. Good day, Jets fans. Next week, draft party. Yeah, let me know. You guys really haven't let me know. I know there's not only a few people in here. Do you guys want to stream on Wednesday? Do you want to stream on Thursday? Do you want the post-draft, drunkenness on here? Do you want a day 2 stuff? Like, I don't know what I'm doing really yet. I know I'll do Wednesday or Thursday next week. Wednesday with Kyle, Thursday after. I'm not sure if I'm doing rounds 2. I don't know. I don't know if I'm doing that just because I don't really know these guys in the second round. So I don't want to be on here like, oh, I really like this guy and talking about guys who I don't really know. So maybe I'm just going to do post draft and then day 2, I'm just going to chill, hop on Ryan's, do all that stuff. And then maybe do like maybe I'll do a post draft stream day 2 instead of doing a live draft post. I don't know. I'll figure it out, but I will see you guys next week. I appreciate you being in here. I appreciate the grades on the mock draft. So I would say the average grade was like a B+, so I'll take it. I will see you next Wednesday night or Thursday, whatever it is. Only a week left. I'm excited. Get excited. I'm excited to break it down, see some of the film of these guys, start doing some film shows with you. I'm excited to talk to you guys next week. Laissez-faire with 13, bring it on. Drunk is a plus. All right. I appreciate you guys. I will catch